judges today, on the north side of the arena, we've got Brian Fox. Brian has been the manager at Blind Badger Ranch in Colorado since 2007, where they focus on raising Maine Anjou, Angus, and Simmental cattle. Heifers and bulls are marketed year-round at the ranch in Fort Morgan, Colorado. Brian currently resides in Hutchinson, Minnesota, with his wife Paula and 3 children, Tyson, Hannah, and Emery. Serving as our livestock evaluator on the south side of the arena, we've got Brady Jensen of Cortland, Kansas. Brady and his wife, Allie, and 2 daughters, Kelly and Kirby. He currently serves as the beef regional manager at ST Genetics. Previously, he was on faculty at South Dakota State University from 2017 to 2022 and served as a lecturer and livestock judging team coach. Brady completed a master's degree at Kansas State, focusing on the genetic component of feet and leg structure in red Angus cattle. Before graduate school, Brady attended Butler Community College and Kansas State University, where he was awarded All-American status at both levels in livestock judging. He coached the 2021 Reserve National Champion team at South Dakota State and 3 high individuals at the North American Senior College Contest. Currently, Brady and Allie assist the family seed stock operation, Jensen Brothers Herefords in Cortland, Kansas. We're very happy to have both those gentlemen with us today. The north side of the arena, we've got our first class of cattle in. This will be class 1406, February heifer calves, born February 1st to the 28th. And in our south arena, in our Red Angus show, we'll be bringing in class 2004. These will be April heifer calves, born April of 2024. Brady, are you ready?
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the Nebraska State Fair. We're going to be kicking off today's activities with the Red Angus show. We got our evaluator of the show today, Mr. Brady Jensen from Cortland, Kansas. Brady's very well known throughout the cattle industry and has done a great job with working with the youngsters, and I think we're only going to have 1 entry in this class here, so we'll probably be moving through rather snappy. If you're at home watching, we'll have to get more information to you. Here's Judge Brady.
Angus female over here as well, an April heifer, nice female. She's got a good turn to her rib cage, nice in her neck set. You know, these heifer calves are young, so there's a lot left for them to grow and mature, but she starts out with a feminine look and a big rib cage relative to her age, size, and maturity.
Results in your north side of the arena in the Gelby show, class 1406. First place goes to entry 2790, BARG Luxury 400M, exhibited by Barwick Gelby of Orleans, Nebraska. That will also be your heifer calf champion automatically. And now in the ring on the north side, we've got class 1410, late senior heifer calves born November, December of 23. Results from your
Ellingworth Farms there, the single entry on that female, really nice April heifer calf they brought to Grand Island here for the state fair. We're going to move up now a couple different classes in age, and we're going to be moving up to actually some February. We got a February up single entry again here in the Red Angus show. This will be from Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. R.H. Lassie's Mission 411. Again, if you're tuning in, we're going to have just 1 more class of heifer calves, and then we'll be picking that junior heifer calf championship.
This a February Red Angus, got some scale and length to her. You can see that through her neck and her body. Another big ribbed kind of female like we found in the last class. Maybe changed the shape of her navel there, but you like her length and performance here as we get through these calf classes.
Again, just a single entry there in that class for Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. So the April heifer calf and this February heifer calf, they'll be coming back in when they'll be picking the calf champion. We're going to get into a little bigger class here now, folks. We've got a set of Januaries. We've got 4 of them. They range in age from January 28th to January 30th. We've got Adam Wolf out of Milford, Nebraska, entry 676, first one in the ring. Then we have Kim Siebert, entry 3803 from Henderson, Nebraska. Then we have our next entry, CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska. That's entry 4126. And rounding out the field here today, we got one got a little spooked there.
That is SEPT Red Velvet Martini L328.
And we're looking for one more.
Grant Walahoski of Overton, Nebraska. That will also be
and looks like we're getting our 4th entrance to the ring here. And that is Grease, Catlin Grease from Aurora, Nebraska. We're going to have 4 of these heifers in this class. Just going to put it up front right now. I'm going to reserve the right to be wrong on pronunciation of anybody's name. I apologize if I do mispronounce, but I will also throw my phone number out there in case I get off past the fog line into the ditch, if you will, into the broccoli. I want everybody to straighten me back out. So if you've got some input, you've got some commentary, hey, we're always wanting to hear it. If you just want to send a text to 402-314-4488, we'd be happy to interject some of your comments and or dialogue that you may be sending along the way. And it looks like the judge is getting them lined up here head to tail. We'll be getting these sorted out for a final placing here very soon. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is the Red Angus Show here at the Nebraska State Fair in Grand Island, Nebraska. We got sorting the cattle today, Brady Jensen. Brady has spent a lot of time in the world of academia and has a master's degree, and it, interestingly enough, ties back to the Red Angus cattle, where in that master's degree he was looking at feet and leg structure of the Red Angus cattle.
In class 14-22 in your
Brady's also done a nice job coaching at South Dakota State, and he and his family run a nationally renowned Hereford program out of Cortland, Kansas.
Coming in the ring now in your Gelby Show, class 14-26, late senior yearling heifers born November 1st to December of 2022.
And he's getting some final looks in here, and we got some different sizes and shapes that he's going to be dealing with, and we'll be getting a final placing here pretty soon on this January heifer class. And then right on the heels of this, they'll be coming back to pick that champion junior heifer calf, and then once that's done, we'll be moving right on into the fall heifer calves, and those will start out the month of November of 2023. Looks like the judge is starting to get everything put together here, and we'll be giving some commentary here shortly. So I'll get it over to Brady. He's going to be giving his comments here very soon.
Results in your Gelby class. First place goes to entry 721, SEPT Ginger Snap Martini K290, exhibited by Tegan Butterfield of Atkinson, Nebraska. In the ring now, we'll be selecting our grand champion and reserve grand champion.
A very competitive class of 4 Red Angus females, and I think there can be some shuffle as we look through all of them, really. I think this is a close placing from 1st to 4th. But as you get into the cattle, I think that the pair is the most similar here at the top end of the class. The female that wins the class is a little more extended, got a little more scale to her. And I think a female that's got a big rib cage, she's adequate as far as boldness and dimension. She presents her neck high and nice out of the top side of her shoulder. I could probably see just a little more strength in that heifer's skull. She's a little tentative out here. She kind of came firing in the gate. She's getting used to the show ring environment. Structurally, I think she's solid. We could improve her in a few areas, but I think all things considered, a neat-looking, bold-made female that's functional enough in her skeleton. Dark cherry red female is a little more moderate in her type and kind. She's very bold in her shape, probably the most three-dimensional in her muscle. As you study her out of her top and hip and down to her base, she gets a touch rounder in the shape of her shoulder. I think as you just study her in relation to the heifer that wins the class, I think she's got a little more rear foot underneath of her. I think there's good trade-offs within that pair. Part of the challenge of the class is the heifer in 3rd. From just a sheer performance perspective, she's the leader. It's because she's a lot longer bodied than those 2 cattle. In front of her, she's good in her top line. I like her looseness of structure and foot structure as well. I think you get off to the side and you try to make her balance. She's a little plainer about her neck and chest. Maybe not quite as true in her shape of rib as those 2 cattle that win, but a really good footed, sound heifer that slots in 3rd. Young lady's heifer that's greener, that comes in 4th in this particular case, is just a touch behind. But I think from a functional perspective, a body and structure, she hangs right with them, just at a bit of a detriment as far as mass and volume today.
Results in your Red Angus Class 2010 January heifer calves born January 2024. First place goes to entry 4126, 3 CW Moscato 481M, exhibited by CW Cattle Company of Wayne, Nebraska. Second place, entry 676, Wolf Bendy 0128M, exhibited by Adam Wolf of Milford, Nebraska. Third place, entry 3803, RH Iron Redbird 406, exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. And fourth place, entry 406, KGC Redeeming Red 31M, exhibited by Caitlin Grease of Aurora, Nebraska. Now we'll be selecting our junior heifer calf champion and reserve in your Red Angus show. And in your North Arena.
Okay, we're going to be bringing them back in. We're going to be, first one in the ring is Ellingworth Farms from Funk, Nebraska. They have KAMRX Meadow, and that's a heifer out of the first class. That is a April heifer calf. Then we're going to move down to the Februaries, and we have an entry there from Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. That would be RH Lassie's Mission. That is a February 2nd daughter. Then we move into the last class there of 4, a very competitive class. And from there, we're going to have class winner from CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska, 3 CW Moscato 481M, and that's a January heifer calf. We are waiting on one more class winner here to come in and round out the field before we pick the junior heifer calf champion. And then once this is over, we're going to be moving into another larger class of 4 here, winter heifer calves. Those will be Novembers and Decembers of 23. There will be 4, and if you're watching at home on the heels of that, we'll move into the September-October heifers. of 23, and there'll be 3 in that class. And then we'll move up to an older group, and it'd be February's of 23. There's 4 in that class. We'll round out that.
In our calf division over here, 2 classes, a single entry. The young lady brought us out of that February class, and that's a female that will be the tallest and longest when they're mature. I do think she's not quite as just dimensional as you study her forerib or muscle or power, but you like her length and you like her depth of body. It was a really strong class here out of Class 2. Good differences in that pair of cattle, both very good cattle. We just talked about them, and to keep things brief, we're going to keep those 2 together as your champion and reserve in this calf division. High-quality entries. My congratulations to both of those exhibitors out of Class 2.
Okay, there we have our calf champion of the Red Angus Open Show here at the Nebraska State Fair. And that champion goes to CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska. A heifer by the name of 3CW Moscato 481M. That was a January 30th of 2024. And then the reserve champion was also second place in that large class of 4 there in the calf division. That was from Adam Wolf out of Milford, Nebraska. That was entry 676. Adam was showing a heifer by the name of Wolf Bendy 0128M. Also, again, out of that class. She was a January 28th of 2024. Going to be moving along here in the program now. We're going to get these winter heifer calves, the Novembers and Decembers. We are looking for 4. First in the ring here would be Charnix Scimitals out of Wymore, Nebraska. Entry 1340 on LBT African Queen 242L, November heifer. And then we will be moving to Ella Miller from Ashland, Nebraska. And Ella's entry 2970 on EGM Miss Resource 416L. Coming in third would be Wendell Custer out of Cushing, Oklahoma. Entry 202. And that female he's at the halter is 93CH Miss Chain Mission 3550. And the 4th heifer coming in the ring there is Ellingworth Farms out of Funk, Nebraska. That's entry 1775. KMRX Marin 394L. She is a December 24th of 2023. 4 in the field, getting bigger. Starting to see how these calves mature, if you will. We just kind of moved the age scale on about another 90 days from what we were just looking at. And really got a nice set of 4 here for the judge to sort. He'll probably be moving right along. So again, if you're at home and you've got somebody in particular you want to watch, we'll be moving into the other class of the fall heifers. That's the Septembers, Octobers. That'll be our next class in. Then we'll be picking that fall heifer calf champion, and then we'll move into the yearling heifers, and there'll be 2 classes of yearling heifers. So we'll probably be marching right along and be picking the grand champion female here, I'd probably say in about 25 to 30 minutes. Looks like the judge is getting everybody figured out and lined up, and we're probably going to leave them as are. And here's Judge
But it doesn't
Jensen.
happen like this every time, but these 4 are going to place here as they come into the ring. All good cattle, just some nice differences between them. The pair of cattle here at the forefront of the class are exceptionally good, in my opinion. I think you can talk some good differences between them. They're both very good heifers at the end of the day. As you get into it, the dark red heifer just hits me so much harder and is probably just a touch more my kind. She's really bold. She's really powerful. I think both cattle are comparable as far as their skeleton and structure. There's some give and take as you get into the details of it, but they're both mobile cattle. And the cherry red dark heifer that wins, I think she's just a little bigger footed. She's a little stouter and denser in terms of her bone work. I think she balances just a touch better as well. She's a little higher at the point of her shoulder. I think she just maintains more balance down her top line out of her hip. She could be just a touch more feminine in the shape of her head. I could change the front feet shape just ever so slightly, but big, powerful beast that wins this class, in my opinion. The light heifer that comes in second is nicer headed. I like her front foot shape just a little bit better. She's probably a little leaner in her condition as you study her brisket and her undercarriage. I appreciate those parts about her. That heifer is genuinely good ribbed and adequate in terms of her muscle. She just gets outgunned with the heifer that wins. It's so powerful and so stout. Both heifers could be just a shot more relaxed in their shoulder angle and their front knee as well. Heifer that comes in third, a little bit more of a refined feminine kind of female that you respect in terms of her freshness of condition. She's functional in her body shape. She probably doesn't have quite the stoutness to her hip and her hind leg, maybe not quite as opened up all the way back into her pins that we find in that top duo of cattle. The heifer that concludes the set, another female that's built really sharp and feminine, touch more compact as far as her body length goes, and relative to performance has probably just slowed her down a little bit to keep pace with the extra length and stretch and mass that we find in the top three, but a heifer that you sure enough like her freshness and her neat look up front.
Results in your Gelbvieh show, your grand champion bull and first place from their class is entry 2786, BARG Master Plan 785, exhibited by Barwick Gelbvieh of Orleans, Nebraska. In the ring currently, we have gone on to the Balancer female show, and we have our April-born heifer calves in the ring on the north side. We've got some results coming from your Red Angus show.
Judge had some great comments there. It was a really powerful class of four. Really like those top two. Very, very tight pair. And talk the cattle extremely well and kind of explain what he's seen and the differences and compare and contrast. I thought he did a fantastic job. Now we're going to move on here. We're going to move into this class 2014. There's going to be three in this class. This is going to be the September-October heifers. They'll be rounding out the fall heifer calf division, if you will. We're going to have one not cooperating there. We're going to move right around. So we're going to have CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska, entry 4127, be the first one in the ring. That's 3CW Lizzo 356L. That's October 10th heifer. And then we're going to get that heifer that's coming in first. That's Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska, entry 5047. That's FFG Dolly 3398. That is a September 8th heifer. And rounding out the field is Adam Wolf of Milford, Nebraska. And Adam is entry 674. He is showing Wolf Kiera, and that is an October 26th of 2023 heifer calf. So this will round out the second class of the day here in the fall heifer calf division. And on the heels of this class, we'll be bringing in the first and second place, and then we'll be Judge Jensen will be picking that fall heifer calf champion. And if you have any family members or relatives that you want to watch that'll be showing yearling heifers, we'll be bringing those in right after we pick this fall heifer calf champion. And we'll be moving right into the February class. And
the Red
that
Angus
class,
show has really been
here
a
we go.
solid
Here's
show.
Judge
Good
Jensen.
Cattle, as we work through each and every class, and we find three good ones again in this particular case. The differences that we see in this class is structure, and that's where this young lady's heifer surfaces, particularly through her front structure. She's got more slope to her shoulder. She's better set in her knee and more comfortable off of her front end. Really a long feminine design kind of female that holds her top and hip and tail head very adequately. I like her freshness of condition relative to the heifer in second and third, but a good female that's long, nice in her top line, neat in her look, and sound off of her front end. You could maybe change a little bit of how she plants off of her pastern, but I think in the big picture of things, a very functional made female that's elegant and nicely designed to win this class. The heifer that comes in second, Park Profile, hits you just good in her outline and really maternal in her image, really big rib. Do you like her extension and how her neck attaches to the top of her shoulder? I think you get her in motion. She's just a little more rigid and up and down in terms of her shoulder and how she plants off of her hind leg. Wants to get her up in her tail head as she walks and misses her stride. But long-bodied, big-bodied, lots of dimension in that heifer that comes in second. Female that comes in third is moderate and big-ribbed. You like her flexibility and her functional build and kind. She runs downhill and gets rounder in the point of her shoulder, just not quite the same design and balance as you study her there, and maybe in how she handles her top line, just a little easier right behind her shoulders. But big-ribbed, three-dimensional, and sound structured. Good set of three, like I stated.
Results in your Red Angus show, class 2014. First place goes to entry 5047. That is FFG Dolly 3398, exhibited by Frank Cattle Genetics of Chapel, Nebraska. Second place goes to entry 4127, 3CW Lizzo 356L, exhibited by CW Cattle Company of Wayne, Nebraska.
Okay, folks, here we go. We're going to pick this fall heifer calf champion. We're going to bring class winner of class 2012. That'd be Triarnic Civitals out of Wymore, Nebraska, entry 1340. That is LBT African Queen 242L. That is a November 2nd heifer calf. And then, of course, the winner of our last class there, class 2014, that was Frank Cattle and Genetics out of Chapel, Nebraska, entry 5047 on FFG Dolly 3398, and that is a September 8th heifer calf. They did bring in the second place ones, and second out of the first class was Ella Miller from Ashland, Nebraska. She is entry 2970 on female by the name of EGM Miss Resource 416L, and that is a November 4th heifer calf. And then out of our last class, second place was CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska, entry 4127. And that female's name is 3CW Lizzo 356L, and she is in October
Results
10th.
in your balancer
Judge Jensen's giving a walk around, taking a look, and I think he's kind of got his mind made up, and we'll hear some commentary from Judge Jensen, and he'll be picking the fall heifer calf champion.
And second place goes to entry 726, BUTR Fire Queen, exhibited by Tegan Butterfield of Atkinson, Nebraska. Congratulations to those exhibitors. And coming in now in our balancer show is class 1405 February heifer calves, born 2024.
An interesting division here in our fall Red Angus show. Good cattle. All of them were in this division. And the interesting thing is we come out here and we had that first class. That pair of heifers that surfaced were massive and stout and powerful. Maybe could be a touch leaner in their condition at this stage in the game, but they're kind of hitting that point in life where they were probably exhibited hard this summer and were ready to look good this summer. So it'll be a challenge to those exhibitors to keep those cattle in check, but where they look today and how we analyze them here at the State Fair, they're both very respectable. The dark red heifer is so big-ribbed and stout, wide out of her pen and good on her top. I like the way she moves off of her hip and her hind leg, and as for stout and as dense as she is, I know she's not the prettiest headed, but she does attach her neck in high, and she blends smooth from her neck into her shoulder. We could change her front feet just ever so slightly, but a high-quality heifer that's so bold and big-bodied and easy to look at from my perspective. Heifer that was second to her, I think, emulates a lot of the same kind. She's maybe just a pinch more moderate. She maybe wants to run downhill a little bit. She's steadier from her hip to her top of her shoulder blades, but good female, big ribbed. I like her hip and hind leg, good in her foot. I like her head and neck shape. We could just tilt her back in the angle of her shoulder, pick her front end up, and that would give me more confidence in how she looks as she continues to mature on into a yearling stage and on into a more mature cow stage of her life. Then the curveball is the heifer that comes out of our second class. Really depending on how you look at cattle and where you want them from a maturity perspective, she's the challenge in this group to see where she fits. From a length, a freshness, a refinement perspective, she's very easy to find. I probably like her refinement, her top line, her hip, her length of hip, where her tailhead is placed as well as any of the cattle. I think she's sound as you look at her feet and legs, not as big boned as the cattle on either side of her. I think there's times she can look a little stringy out here. She's a touch bigger frame, doesn't have the same heart and flank, but she's also quite a bit leaner in her condition. So I think that's the catch-22 that you have to think about as we go to make this decision in this division. Heifer that comes second to her, I think, emulates more of the same kind standing that we have in our first and second out of our first class. She's big rib, she's stout, really long neck. She can give you a good look profile. I think she gets in a bit more trouble as you ask the cattle get into motion versus the three in front of her. So congratulations to these exhibitors. I'm going to go make one more look for reserve, but this young lady up front will be your champion in this division.
Okay, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the champion fall heifer calf out of the Red Angus Open Show here at the Grand Island, Nebraska State Fair. Congratulations to the Trarnick family on that female. Again, that was the fall heifer calf champion, LBT African Queen 242L. And also congratulations to Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska. Entry 5047 on FFG Dolly 3398. A pair of really nice fall heifer calves that we're probably going to be extremely competitive when we get them back out here for the final drive to pick our grand champion female here in the Red Angus show. Okay, we're going to be moving on. And now we're moving into that February class. We're going to have 4 here. We've got Caitlin Pearson, entry 852 on Caw Lily 306. We've got Lily Pearson, also, I'm going to just go with maybe sisters here, Laurel, Nebraska. Entry 848 on RDBG Vera 207L. We'll move down to entry 1890. That's Prime Genetics from Kearney, Nebraska. That is FHSU Legacy 002L. And rounding out the field would be Kim Siebert from Henderson, Nebraska. Entry 3801 with KDS FC Hannah 334. If you were tuned in on those fall heifer calves, Judge Brady Jensen did a great job of describing his champion and reserve, and really like that pair, and I think that's going to be a pair that will be in contention as we move on into picking our overall grand champion. But right now we are on class 2024. No coincidence, folks. It's just class 2024. The February yearling heifers. And looks like Judge Jensen's kind of collecting his thoughts and giving another look. Got a nice set of 4. He's going to start pulling these in and getting them placed, and then probably give us another outstanding set of reasons as describing the cattle and the way things look. And looks like we've got our top 4 pulled in here. So, oh, I'm sorry, our top pair. So now Judge Jensen is going to get that top pair evaluated, their head to tail out here. And here comes the comments.
It's a nice class of heifers, definitely some challenge as you work through it and think about them. But I think at the end of the day, the heifer that strikes me the hardest is this young lady's female that wins. Where she beats the heifer behind her is she's just a notch fresher and leaner in her condition. Both heifers are fairly bold in terms of their rib. This heifer that wins is exceptionally big-footed and heavy-boned. I'd like to change her grow bone just a little bit. We could give her a little more flex and reach to her skeleton, but just her stoutness, her length, her outline is what allowed her to elevate in this particular case. The freeze-branded heifer that comes second, I like her foot shape. I like the function to her skeleton, as well as any of them in the class. Really bold made, a touch more moderate in her type and kind. I'd like to just free her up in terms of condition at this stage, but you like her looseness of build, you like her bold rib cage, and her extra dimension. Heifer that comes in third is the real highly presented female that's got a beautiful hair coat. You like that about her. She's very well shown out here. She holds her top line very true. Structurally, she's a bit more problematic. As we watch the cattle circle, she misses her stride and closes up in her base, just needs to be a little looser in her skeleton. Heifer that concludes the set, big and long and stout-boned, a little piecier in her top line and tail head, but you like her length of step, you like her extra foot and bone.
Okay, there you have it, Class 2024 here in the Red Angus Show. We're going to kick it to the announcer here to give you the placings.
RDBG Vera 207L, exhibited by Philly Person of Laurel, Nebraska. Second placed, entry 3801, KDS FC Hannah 334, exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. Third placed, entry 1890, FHSU Legacy 002L, exhibited by Prime Genetics of Kearney, Nebraska. And fourth place goes to entry 852, Caw Lily 306, exhibited by Caitlin Person of Laurel, Nebraska.
Okay, folks, in Class 2026, we've got a pair of January heifers here from Kim Siebert in Henderson, Nebraska. It looks like Judge Jensen's got them placed, and he's going to give us some reasons.
These heifers, we got two freeze-branded cattle, 304 and I think 301. We're going to edge out here with the moderate, bold, thicker-made heifer. Just as you get on top of the cattle, you look at their rib and muscle. I think she elevates from those perspectives. The heifer that comes in second is maybe a touch looser off her front structure. Another stout heifer in terms of her bone. I think relative to her extra frame and length, would probably just enhance her forerib shape or body shape. Maybe just tone down the shape and size of her head ever so slightly. But you like her foot size. You like her stoutness of bone work.
Okay, we're going to be bringing back in the class winners now, and we're going to be picking the champion. We'll be picking our champion senior. Okay, here we go. We got our class winners coming back in. Out of that first class, 2024, was Lily Pearson from Laurel, Nebraska on entry 848. And then second in that class would have been Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska on entry 3801. Class 2026, the class we just wrapped up, there was a pair of heifers there from Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. The class winner was entry 3800, KDS Driven Marie 304, I'm sorry. So now we got them lined up out here, head to tail. Judge will give his looks, and it'll be as you're at home watching, it's the two on the right-hand side of the screen will be your class winners, followed by the second place females out of the respective classes. We've got this division here, and then we'll move right into picking that grand champion, Red Angus female. And then we've got a cow-calf pair. Then we'll move over to the bull show. Bull show will be kind of quick, folks. So if you're at home watching, there looks like 4 bulls that are entered into the show. So we'll be concluding our Red Angus show here relatively soon. Again, right now we are picking the division champion, and this would be for your junior, or I'm sorry, the senior.
Class 2026, first place.
I was right the first time. Sorry, getting here looking around. We got the junior champion female coming up.
Exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. And
so we'll pick our champion in reserve out of this division, and then Judge Jensen will be bringing them back out, and we'll be racing for the grand champion Red Angus female here in the open show today. coming to you live in Grand Island from the Nebraska State Fair.
2406 SEPT Malibu M401, exhibited by September Farms of Franklin, Nebraska. Second place goes to entry 1663 XXB Miss Shooter 400M, exhibited by Grant Walahoski of Overton, Nebraska. And third place, entry 5266 Voss 525M ET, exhibited by Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska. And fourth place, entry 3937 SFGI Miss Jada 366M, exhibited by Steinkruger Farms of Upland, Nebraska. In the Balancer show, we'll be selecting our champion heifer calf, and with results, Brady in our Red Angus show will be giving reasons on junior champion female.
Yeah, here in this division, we have two classes. So out here, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. The first class, a very strong class. Female that elevated was just a notch fresher. Maybe you liked her extra length and stoutness. Maybe not quite as nice in her head and brisket shape that we find in a heifer that's second, but big bone, long about her neck, big in her rib, nice in her top line. Very solid female that you like in terms of her freshness and her outline. Heifer that comes out of the second class, the winner won that particular class because she was bolder in her heart and rib, maybe a touch more moderate in her frame versus the heifer that was second. You liked her just from that perspective. Structurally, I don't know if she can quite keep pace with the 2 out of the first class. Heifer that comes out of the second slot in the first class, moderate, big-bodied, sound-structured, like her feminine head and neck shape. We thought we got just a little critical just on her condition, but a good female, I think, when you peel that off. And the heifer on our far left, the big, long female that's going to make the biggest mature cow, a little longer-headed, maybe just a little more shoulder, and we could enhance her rib, but stout-boned and certainly a big and long kind of female. So congratulations to the 2 here out of Class 1. They're going to stay together and be your champion in reserve here in the Red Angus show.
Okay, there you have it, folks. You got your champion in reserve. He kept the pair together, the pair out of Class 2024. Lily Pearson, Laurel, Nebraska, congratulations on your grand champion junior female. That was entry 848, and then second in that class was Kim Siebert from Henderson, Nebraska on entry 3801, KDS FC Hannah 334. So now we're going to be bringing in that fall calf champion.
Laurel, Nebraska, and your reserve champion goes to entry 3801.
And then we'll be bringing in our
FC Hannah 334.
Or I should say the junior calf, then we'll have the fall calf, and then we'll move into our fall heifer calf, and then we'll have our junior yearling. So should have 4 of them out here when we get to sorting.
Heifer calf division will be coming up shortly.
Again, congratulations to Lily Pearson out of Laurel. Entry 848 on RDBG Vera 207L. And congratulations to Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. Entry 3801, KDS FC Hannah 334. And now we've got them lined up out there. We'll have our divisions and reserves. So if you remember way back to the start of the day, we had Ellingworth Farms on that spring heifer calf. KMRX Meadow, that is in April 2nd of 2024. She was a single entry there, and that was your calf champion. And then we moved into the junior heifers, and that was CW Cattle, entry 4126 from Wayne, Nebraska. The reserve pulled in behind Adam Wolf, entry 676. We move into the fall heifer calves, and that was Charnick Simmental's entry 1340. And then the champion fall heifer calf. The reserve fall heifer calf was Frank Cattle Company out of Chapel, Nebraska. And that was coming out of class 2014. That was entry 5047 FFG Dolly. And rounding out the field that we just picked was our champion female out of the junior division, and that was Lily Pearson, Laurel, Nebraska, entry 848, and reserve in that division was Kim Siebert out of that same class of 2024. Here comes the judge. We're going to talk these females.
Meant it when I said it. As we work throughout the classes, very impressed with the kind of cattle that were here. Each and every class and division, there was strong cattle, and I liked an awful lot of them. I think so. We get here to our champion and reserve. In my mind, there's a heifer for champion, and there's a logical spot for reserve. I think there's a couple other heifers, depending on who judges this event, could certainly have factored in. But with this judge's opinion, I'm very comfortable with the two that we're going to land on. But that being said, I like a lot of the cattle in this lineup. We've discussed them typically at least twice as we've worked through this show, so we won't go back through and discuss all those parts and pieces. If you've watched the show, you probably know which cattle have really stuck out to me. So congratulations, Red Angus exhibitors. Thank you for bringing a really strong set here to the Nebraska State Fair. We got a little bit of a crowd here on both sides of the ring. Let's congratulate these exhibitors and thank them for bringing these exhibits to the State Fair.
Okay, there you have it. You have your Grand and Reserve champion. That would have been them fall heifer calves. Really, really nice pair. And the judge had found that pair, and he was locked in on them. Certainly a highly competitive show here today. But congratulations to all the class winners. Congratulations to the division winners, the breeders, the exhibitors, the owners. Really good Red Angus female show there today. Again, just to cap that off, your fall heifer calf champion, exhibited by Triarnic Simmentals, entry 1340, LBT African Queen 242L, was your grand champion, and reserve out of that division came to you from Frank Cattle and Genetics out of Chapel, Nebraska, entry 5047, and that was FFG Dolly 3398. Congratulations to all. And that does conclude what we have for the female side of the equation. There is a cow-calf pair entry from Kim Siebert, and I think we've got one. I'm not sure here. We'll have to take a look and see. That could potentially be a scratch. And if that is a scratch, we'll be moving into our bull show.
Here, I believe results from class 1409, first place goes to entry 3479. SEPT, She Looks Famous, exhibited by Reagan Bowles of Atwood, Kansas.
Again, if you're tuning in, we just picked the grand champion Red Angus female. And that was a Charnick family.
1411, early senior heifer calves.
Congratulations to them.
Of 2023.
Really nice female. I'm not sure, but that could be one that might have been raised in their own program, in their own Red Angus program. Just going by the abbreviation there, LBT.
We're ready to go. We'll be bringing in our
if in fact that is the case, congratulations on a not only owned but a bred and owned female. That's absolutely fantastic. We're going to take a little bit of a break in the action here, and we're going to take some pictures of the Grand and Reserve champion. Plus, I think we've got a few division champions that we want to take pictures of here out of the Red Angus division. So we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. And when we come back, I see the cow-calf pair came up. We'll move into that cow-calf class. It'll be a single entry. That'll be your champion cow-calf. And then from there, we're going to be moving into the bull show. The bull show's got 4 entries. So just stay tuned. If you step away, go get a cup of coffee. Hurry back, because we'll be getting into the bull show here real soon.
Results in Class 1411 of your balancer show. Early senior heifer calves. First place goes to entry 3917. That is Voss 270L, exhibited by Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska. And second place goes to entry 3560, WLSS Sept, Gossip Girl, exhibited by Keisha Albert of Guide Rock, Nebraska. Now in our balancer show, we will be selecting our champion intermediate heifer. Actually, that was your no, we got to bring those in. In our Red Angus show, we still have to show our mature cow-calf pair. As soon as they're done with some pictures here, we'll be bringing our mature cow-calf class into the show ring on the south side of the arena.
You're killing it.
We have a single entry cow-calf, 5-year-old cow with a really good udder structure. I think it's obviously done a good job to this point, and it should allow this cow to function for some more time. Big, long, stout kind of cow. You see the same resemblance in the heifer calf, so I think a very respectable pair here. I believe our only pair in the show, so congratulations. Well-deserved champion cow-calf pair here in the Red Angus show.
Results on the south side of the arena from your Red Angus show. First place in your cow-calf class goes to entry 3805, KDS Deep Redbird 940, exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. Coming in next in the Red Angus show, we will start our bull classes with
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We've had the single entry there, as the judge had said, in the cow-calf division, and I just learned something. We do have a Supreme Overall cow-calf division tomorrow night, so be tuning in. There's an addition to that, so we'll have the Supreme Bull, we're going to have the Supreme Female, and then we'll have the Supreme Cow-Calf pair. So that's a nice addition to the overall Supreme row. We are now moving into and turning the page for the bull show. Looks like we've got 4 bulls that will be coming to us. We've got each one will be in their own respective class because of the age variations. But we're going to start the show out with a February bull calf from Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. Class 2040, and then we'll move to class 2042, which will also be Kim Siebert out of Henderson, Nebraska. Okay, here it comes, Kim. In entry 3808, this is KDS Ghost Rider 418. This is a February 6th bull calf. Again, single entry. Here's the judge's comments.
We're going to kick off our bull show with a February calf, big-ribbed, good-footed kind of bull that's nice in his lines. I think a bull that's testicle development looks on point at this stage in the game. He should be headed the right direction as he approaches a year of age to potentially market and sell. So good calf here, big-ribbed, long-bodied. I think there's some usefulness to this calf when you study him.
Results in your balancer show from class 1417. First place goes to entry 1655 XXB Tessa 417/358L, exhibited by Paige Walahoski.
Okay, we're going to be moving to class 2042 here. Again, a single entry. This will be a January 27th bull calf. Also coming from Kim Siebert, entry 3807. The bull's name is KDS Powerhouse 403.
418.
Looks like the judge is going to get him in and get a little look, and we'll be getting some commentary here from Judge Brady Jensen.
Born in 2024.
A single entry January calf, long-bodied, maybe not quite the depth of rib of the calf we just saw, but a little more foot and bone as you get underneath of them. It'll be an interesting pair here to study in just a little bit.
Results in your Red Angus Bull Show, class 2042. First place goes to entry 3807, KDS Powerhouse 403, exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. Now we'll be selecting our junior bull calf champion.
We got a pair of these bulls here. They're different, both pretty solid, kind of useful breeding prospects as they approach a year. Like the depth of body and length found in the calf that wins the first class, good in his testicle development and structure. Maybe not quite as masculine as you study his head, his neck, and his muscle shape that we find in the calf that wins the second class. A little bit of age, maybe that'll come with a shot more time. You like those parts I just mentioned about this calf that comes out of the second class bull calf that's got so much length of body. Not sure he puts quite the balance together that we find in the calf that wins the first class. Maybe not quite as true off his hind leg, but a little more foot and a little more bone. So good trade-offs in this pair. I prefer the depth of body, length and presence and look of the calf that comes out of the first class. He'll be our champion. The longer-bodied bull will be reserve.
All right, congratulations to Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. Entry 3808, KDS Ghost Rider 418, February 6th bull calf. And then Kim was competing against himself in this division, and he had the reserve bull, KDS Powerhouse 403, which is entry 3807. That was a January 27th bull calf. So congratulations to Kim. Really good program there, and I know has a production sale and does sell a lot of animals private treaty as well. And really good, solid program that has a long history in the Red Angus breed. We're going to move on now. We're going to get into the senior bull calves, and we've got Nathan Grease from Aurora, Nebraska. Entry 403. He's got NGC Power Takeoff 04L. That's a September 7th of 2023 bull calf. Again, one in this division, and this bull will move on and will be the fall bull calf champion. And that leaves one more bull to hit the ring today, and that will be moving into Class 2054, which will be exhibited by CW Cattle Company of Wayne, Nebraska. That's entry 4125. That will be JCL single barrel, and that's going to be a March 16th of 2023 bull. And again, that's a single entry in the junior division, so that one will also be a division champion. And once that's completed, we'll bring those 3 division champions back out, and we'll be picking the grand champion Red Angus bull. We got Judge Fox on the other ring giving a little commentary. Once he's concluded, Judge Brady Jensen will be giving his commentary here on this single entry by Nathan Grease. And then we'll move right on into Class 2054. So here momentarily, the judge will be giving his comments.
Fall bull calf that's got a great look up front. He's masculine, yet neat and attractive in his head and neck carriage. Big in his muscle shape as you get down his top. Maybe doesn't carry it quite down to his stifle. Athletic bull in motion. Think he'll be competitive as we work throughout this show. High quality bull here in this fall class.
Results in your Red Angus show from Class 2046. First place goes to entry 403. That is NGC Power Takeoff 04L, exhibited by Nathan Grease of Aurora, Nebraska. Coming in now, we'll be selecting our fall bull calf champion. In the north side of your arena, from your balancer show, results from Class 1419. First place goes to entry 39.
Okay, so we're going to be moving on to Class 2054. This is going to be the March Spring Yearling Bulls, and this is going to be entry from CW Cattle Company out of Wayne, Nebraska. Entry 4125. This is JCL Single Barrel. This is a March 16th of 2023 bull. As you've been watching the show, it looks like those young ones do mature into big ones, and this is a nice big bull here. Again, a single entry, so he'll win the division. And then once we conclude this class, we'll be moving right on into picking the grand champion Red Angus bull. Judge Jensen will be giving a commentary here momentarily.
Got a bull here that comes in this next class that hits you really powerful, very three-dimensional in his muscle, and he's bold in his rib. I think for all that mass and stoutness he has through the middle third of his body and then out over his hip, he travels good on a big foot, flexible rear skeleton. I'd label him athletic and muscular, presents a very nice look from the side, very neat bull that'll be fun to evaluate as we work throughout this show.
Okay, congratulations to CW Cattle Company. It's a division champion there. So now we're going to bring them back in. And we got three divisions. We're going to have first bull calf coming in should be from Kim Siebert, which would be your junior bull calf champion. That was entry 3808, KDS Ghost Rider 418. That's a February 6th of 2024 bull calf. We're going to move into the fall bull calf here. The fall bull calf was exhibited by Nathan Grease of Aurora, Nebraska. That's entry 403. Bull's name is NGC Power Takeoff 04L. That is a September 7th of 2023 bull calf. Then we moved on down to the big bull there that just walked out of the ring. That's from CW Cattle Company, Wayne, Nebraska, entry 4125, JCL single barrel.
All 4 entries are out here to exhibit and in contention for this champion reserve slot. So we worked throughout the show. We just talked about those cattle, but briefly, a nice bull calf in terms of make and structure and body. Could just add a touch more muscle and masculinity to him. We like those parts about the calf that was second to him, and his length and his bone, not quite the center rib, and boldness to the middle part of his body. I think the show comes down to these 2 bulls in the middle, our fall champion and our junior champion bull. Both bulls are muscular. They got a good presence and stoutness and masculine look up front. They got a little extra bone and foot. I like their testicle carriage, very solid from that regard. I'd say the difference is their skeleton and structure and motion. Probably the calf that wins the falls is not as true in his top line and out over his hip. The dark red bull's really, really nice off of his hock, how he comes down to his pastern and sets into his foot. He's not as long-fronted. He's not as long-hipped. I don't know if there's quite the future extension and length left in that bull, but for a mid-sized bull to be that athletic and muscular and good-looking is very admirable. He's going to be your champion. The fall bull will be reserved. Congratulations to those two exhibitors.
And we have some results from your Red Angus.
Okay, there's your
Bull
red.
Show.
That's a wrap on the Red Angus Bull Show here at the Nebraska State Fair. Congratulations to CW Cattle Company of Wayne, Nebraska. Exhibitor 4125, that was your grand champion bull. And reserve champion was Nathan Grease, exhibitor 403. Nathan resides in Aurora, Nebraska. Again, those bulls that won, you had the grand champion bull from CW Cattle Company, JCL Single Barrel. That was a March 16, 2023 bull calf. Your reserve grand champion, exhibited by Nathan Grease, entry 403, was NGC Power Takeoff 04L, and that is a September 7th of 2023 son. Congratulations to all. That is a wrap on the Red Angus Show. We're going to take a momentary break, and then we'll be moving into the Black Angus Show.
In our Red Angus Show, we're taking a quick break for Grand and Reserve Champion pictures, and then we will conclude our Red Angus Show. We'll resume here shortly on the south side of the arena. In our Red Angus Show, we will not be bringing in those group classes, but we will award those and announce them here. First place in your Premier Breeder goes to entry 1781 to Illingworth Farms of Funk, Nebraska. And your Premier Exhibitor in your Red Angus Show goes to Illingworth Farms of Funk, Nebraska. Congratulations to you exhibitors. And we will be bringing in our Angus cattle here starting very shortly in the south side of the arena. Results from your balancer show, Class 1423. First place goes to entry 3362, XXB, Miss Lead the Way, 319 LET, exhibited by Cody Brown of Dwight, Kansas. Second place goes to entry 3895, Over Lonely, 3010L, exhibited by O'Day Cattle of Indianola, Nebraska. Third place, entry 3557, that is XXB 306L, exhibited by Acacia Alber of Guide Rock, Nebraska. And fourth place, entry 1660, XXB Lead the Way 310L ET, exhibited by Grant Walahoski of Overton, Nebraska. Now we will be selecting our champion and reserve champion junior yearling heifers. Results from your balancer division. Your champion goes to entry 3911. That is Poker Queen L3, exhibited by Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska. And your reserve champion junior yearling heifer goes to entry 223, XXB, Miss Thelma 335L, exhibited by Easton Bowes of Orleans, Nebraska. Coming in now, we will be selecting your grand champion balancer female and your reserve grand champion balancer female. On the south side of the arena, we are starting our Angus show. In the ring now, we have class 1104 early junior heifer calves. We'd like to recognize, representing the American Angus Association, Will Harsh. He is your regional manager for Nebraska and Colorado. If you have questions regarding the Angus breed, please visit with him. Thank you for being with us today, Will. Appreciate it.
We're going to start off with a pair of these February heifer calves, both good heifers. A little different in their type and their kind. Young lady, go ahead and go just behind him. The differences are obvious, but I think the placing is close. The heifer up front, really nice from the side. You like her looseness to her structure. particularly her hip and her hind leg design. She's a little bigger footed, travels more comfortable off of her hip and her hind leg. She's got some growth potential, maybe relative to that growth potential that we see here early in her life. We could just enhance her in terms of base width and body width, but really neat profiling, sound structured heifer to win the class. Heifer that comes in second at this point and at this stage in the game is bigger ribbed. Female that probably doesn't have the same growth potential, but will still be plenty big enough when it's all said and done. Functional in her feet and legs, a little frailer built, maybe not quite as stout either in her bone work, but both cattle could be opened up a little bit. Differences I saw were just the way they came to the ground and structure.
All right, thanks to Judge Jensen there on his comments. That was class 1104. That was the junior heifer calves, and that was also a division. There was a pair in there. The champion of that division goes to Tuttle Cattle Company out of Dorchester, Nebraska. Entry 4274, TCC Judy M37. February 26th heifer calf. Reserve in that division goes to Circle B Livestock out of Albion, Nebraska. Entry 2253. Circle B Black Rose M1, and that was a February 2nd heifer calf. We're going to move right on into the next division here. This will be the late senior heifer calves, and we're going to have them spread out between November and December. We've got coming in first, we've got Andrew Bowman of York, Nebraska. Entry 4392, R&R Skymere 5004 3114. Also coming in is Andrew Bowman, York, Nebraska, entry 4393, R&R Rachel 2207 3124. And then we'll move down to O'Day Cattle from Indianola, Nebraska. That's entry 3892, O'Day Mary 3101. Rounding out the field here, coming in fourth heifer in the class is Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska. That's entry 3729. 4M Princess 2396. And that would be your oldest heifer in the class. She is a December 28th of 2023. The oldest heifer in the class, I said the oldest heifer, now the youngest heifer in the class, are just going around the corner, exhibited by Andrew Bowman of York, Nebraska. That is a November 18th of 2023. As we move on in here, we're going to have a little bigger Black Angus show here today. The Red Angus show concluded. And talking about shows, we've got some exciting shows coming up today here yet at 4 o'clock. They're going to have the Open Junior show. And then we'll move at 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to have the Open Feeder Calf show. So there's a lot of action going on here in the show ring at Nebraska State Fair today. Looks like Judge Jensen's starting to get it figured out how he wants these females lined up. He's got a pair of them pulled in, and I think he's got them sorted. And here comes Judge Jensen's commentary.
We got a class of these 4 late fall heifers. We have a real classy female that elevates, in this case, not the biggest and stoutest of the group, but the one that you're drawn to in terms of her design. Female that is fairly deep in terms of the middle part of her body, gives a captivating look here from her profile. We could talk about a few things as you study her from nose to tail that you could tweak here and there, but big picture is I think she dominates this class and does so rather handily. The heifer that comes in second is certainly blessed with more performance. She's a little stouter up in through her head and down into her bone work. Big hip and wide pin set in this female. I think as you get and balance them from the side, just a touch plainer up front. Maybe not quite as coordinated off of her hind leg, but a big rib female that's got mass out of her top and a big wide pin setting. The next female I like a lot in terms of her angularity. She's really attractive and feminine about her head and neck. She balances good into her chest. Big, bold rib cage, maybe doesn't come as deep back into her flank. Young lady where I'd critique your effort the most is her tail head setting and how she steps down on her hind leg just to allow her to balance in her rear third of her body as nice as she does up in her front third. The red tinged heifer that closes the class is a little deeper flanked, a little wider pin than the heifer in front of her. but she's probably a little shorter bodied, not quite the extension and performance that we found in this class, but a good female. She'll make a nice cow because she's functional structured, got enough rib, and she looks feminine.
Okay, that takes care of last class 1108. Congratulations to Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska, exhibitor 3729. 4M Princess 2396 was your class winner. Second was Andrew Bowman of York, Nebraska, entry 4392. R&R Skymere 5004 3114. Third in that class was also Andrew Bowman of York, Nebraska, entry 4393, R&R Rachel 2207 3124. And rounding out the field was O'Day Cattle from Indianola, Nebraska, entry 3892 on O'Day Mary 3101. We're going to move into class 1110 now. In a class 1110, this will be the senior heifer calves. They're born September 1 to October 31. In class 1110, we've got Clara Stump from St. John, Kansas, entry 613 on BOY Angel 3162. Coming around the corner is Brecken Reinerson from Broken Bow, Nebraska, entry 230 on Reinerson's Billie Jean. We have Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska, entry 5046 coming around the corner. That's Frank Angel 3387. We've got Braxton Reinerson from Broken Bow, Nebraska, entry 226 on DAL Porto Missy 3620. We've also got another entry from Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska. That's entry 5045, Frank Angel 3388. And rounding out the field, coming around the corner here is Addie Kraus from Belgrade, Nebraska, entry 3813, LSCF Trixie. And again, as I'd said earlier in the broadcast, if I happen to mispronounce somebody's name, I apologize, and I'm just going to have to reserve the right to be incorrect. But along those lines, I'm also going to throw a phone number out in case you can help me with the pronunciation if I do misspell something, or you just got some general comments and want to share some thoughts here about the Nebraska State Fair. We're always happy to hear from the audience. That number is 402-314-4488. We've got 6 here in the class 1110. We're spreading age from September 12th all the way up to October 29th. And as you're looking at them, the youngest is on the right on your screen, and the oldest is on the left.
Born September and October of 2023.
And Judge is going to do some evaluating here and take some looks, and it's always nice. As I was looking through here, we see some people from out of state that have been bringing cattle, not only in the Red Angus show, but also here in the Black Angus show today. And we certainly welcome to Nebraska and the state fair here, and it's always good to see people coming from out of state to exhibit their interest, exhibit their cattle and promote their programs. The judge is going to get a good look at them here head to tail and figure out what the next steps will be and get these lined up. And we're starting that process. Looks like that'll be Clara Stump from St. John, Kansas, entry 613, getting pulled in place. Now looks like we're getting things sorted out. Looks like we're going to do a switch on these pair that just got brought in. Looks like the judge has got it narrowed down to 4 out there that he's going to evaluate. We got a pretty big female show here in the Angus division. We've got 25 that'll be coming through the ring. And then once we get done, we're going to move on over to the bull side of the equation. Bull show, we're going to have 7 that'll be participating in the bull show. Again, if you want to tune in later today, we're going to have the Open Junior Show at 4 p.m. And then on the heels of that, at 7 p.m., we're going to have the Open Feeder Calf Show. Always a pair of highly touted shows, and the judge has got some comments on our class. He's got them placed.
Stepped into this class. No offense to any exhibitors throughout the day, but this is as strong from the first animal ring to the final animal of the ring as we have evaluated at this point. Matter of fact, the 2 females that end up concluding the set came in, and I said, we're going to have a nice pair of heifers to work with. We walked in these next 4, and the class just kept getting better. The heifer that wins, to me, wins rather handily. Her combination of traits is hard to beat, but even still, as you dive into the details of that heifer, I think she's very good and very hard to make. Start and talk about her from a cow perspective, start and talk about her from a structure, balance perspective. I think she's the one that clearly stands out in this class. She's nice in her attractive look up front. She's big and bold in her rib cage with plenty of dimension down her top and out over her hip. Where she beats the heifer in second is the way she's built skeletally. She's smoother as her shoulder lays onto her body wall. She watched the cattle walk directly away. She plants and tracks so much truer and square from her hock down to her ground. I could give her just a little more depth of heel. She's probably just a touch long-toed as you see her hind foot here in the show ring. But big picture is she wins the class for me in terms of just all things considered. Structure, cow-like image, balance, fresh enough for a heifer calf at this stage in the game. The next female really hit me hard as they come into the ring. I think she does some very interesting things that are hard to do. I like her leanness, and to me it was an advantage that I almost wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt in this particular pair because I think she's genuinely stouter. She's bigger footed and heavier boned. She's so powerful out over her hip, and she's big in her rib cage and wide in terms of her base. She walks a little outside her skeleton and pulls her hocks in. We can see she'll plant and twist those front feet out and get a little bigger and bolder in her shoulder. But her neck set, her boldness of body, her power, her looseness of skeleton, and her leanness is so interesting, so fun to evaluate. The heifer in third is good Angus cattle. She's so feminine and refined and smooth from nose to tail. I love just the cow-like image that she gives you as you study her from the side. She's basic, maybe for some a little too basic. For me, she hits me the right kind. She's not as exquisite, not as stout in her bone. She's got some chest, a little more base narrow versus the cattle above, but a good kind of Angus cattle there that slots in third. Same can be said about the heifer that comes in fourth. I think her leanness is an advantage over the heifer behind her. Big and bold in her rib cage relative to her leanness. Like her squareness atop and pin setting. She's good down to her hind leg. To me, she's a bit fragile and a bit straight-shouldered and a bit straight in her knee. That makes her kind of set her neck in low, and she never presents herself up through the front one-third of her body. This next female, a little out of place in terms of just body mass in this group. If you're strictly sorting them on depth and boldness of body, she's going to be one you tie to. I'd like to freshen her up the most. I read her today as a stout, moderate, bold, loose skeletoned heifer that's certainly equipped with some quality. I thought she was a little cooked in terms of her condition. I didn't know what the future left to hold, but a good female that you definitely need to respect and like from a very strong class. We're going to conclude this class with a female that I think is interesting to study. She's good in her top and out over her hip. Structurally, she's probably just a little more in the middle of the road versus the rest of the class. She's pitched forward in her shoulder and opens up front, but a high-quality heifer that's presented nicely. She's good in her lines. She just gets in an awfully tough class that certainly had some sort and discussion.
Well, there you have it. That puts a wrap on Class 1110. First in that class was Addie Kraus out of Belgrade, Nebraska on LSCF Trixie. Second was Frank Cattle and Genetics out of Chapel, Nebraska on Frank Angel 3388. Third was Braxton Reinerson from Broken Bow on DAL Porto Missy 3620. Fourth was Frank Cattle and Genetics out of Chapel, Nebraska on Frank Angel 3387. Fifth was Clara Stump, St. John, Kansas on BOY Angel 3162. Rounding out the field there was Brecken Reinerson from Broken Bow on Reinerson Billie Jean. We're going to move in here, and we've got Senior Heifer Calf Champion now. We're going to select. So we've got Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska, wins Class 1108 on 4M Princess 2396. And of course, our last Class 1110 is Addie Kraus from Belgrade, Nebraska on LSCF Trixie. The class winners, you've got just a little bit of difference in age. You've got Heifer on the far right there by Casey Meyer is a December 28th, and the heifer being exhibited by Addie Kraus out of Belgrade is in October 29th. Going to have some commentary here from the judge real quick about the field. Four really nice females out here in the Senior Heifer Calf Champion Division. And then once this concludes, we're going to move right on to Class 11-12. There will be two in that class. And we'll be moving into the late summer yearling heifers at the conclusion of this division of the Senior Heifer Calves.
We'll now be starting our bull show on our balancer side and catching up on some placings in our Angus show, Class 1110. First place in that class went to 3813 LSCF Trixie, exhibited by Addie Kraus of Belgrade, Nebraska. Second place to 5045 Frank Angel 3388, exhibited by Frank Cattle and Genetics of Chapel, Nebraska. Third place, entry 226 DAL Porto Missy 3620, exhibited by Braxton Reinerson of Broken Bow, Nebraska. Fourth place to entry 5046 Frank Angel 3387, exhibited by Frank Cattle and Genetics of Chapel, Nebraska. Fifth place to entry 613 Boy Angel 3162, exhibited by Clara Stump of St. John, Kansas. And sixth place to entry 230 Reinerson's Billie Jean, exhibited by Brecken Reinerson of Broken Bow, Nebraska. Coming in now in our Angus show, we will be selecting our Senior Calf Champion female.
A good division it was as well. We get into it. We had a strong first class, captivating class winner that needs to be a little stouter, but a good female that's got a bright future in terms of her outline and her depth of body. Heifer that was second to her is stout, maybe a touch plainer. That next class was so good. Nothing taken away from these other two, but I'm not so sure that any one of them might have been our division champion and reserve champion out of that last class. Those two heifers are going to stay together. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Okay, congratulations to Addie Kraus out of Class 1110. Addie's from Belgrade, Nebraska, and that was LSCF Trixie, October 29th, 2023 heifer. And he kept the pair together. Second in that class was Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska, entry 5045. That was Frank Angel 3368. Congratulations to both exhibitors, the breeders, and the owners. Really nice pair of females there to round out the senior calf division. We're going to be moving on now and moving into Class 11-12. 11-12 is going to have two head in it. And we're going to be looking for the first one to come in from Tuttle Cattle Company out of Dorchester, Nebraska. That's entry 4273 on Colburn Elsa 3708. We got a pair of July heifers here. The first one coming in is July 18th. And then we've got Albert Moeller from Grand Island, Nebraska, entry 2478, PVF Blackbird 3133. A pair of really nice late summer yearling heifers here to be born in the month of July. Judge will be getting these looked at pretty quick. We'll keep moving on. Then we're going to move into the early summer yearling heifers, which will be a May heifer, a single entry. And then we're going to pick that intermediate division champion. So stay tuned if you've got somebody that you're looking for that is going to be showing a female, because we'll be rounding out the show here with 2 more classes after the intermediate division.
First year in our July class, they're kind of like Mutt and Jeff. We got a smaller, more moderate, more refined heifer that wins the class. We got a bigger, longer, looser, bigger boned heifer that's second. I think the heifer that wins just fits my speed a little bit more. She's kind of the right kind in terms of looking like a female, smooth, but has enough shape to her. Structurally, I think she's solid. We could loosen her up in her hock and just watch her go and drive a little looser off of her hind leg, but I think she's still a functionally structured female. Heifer that comes in second, bigger bone, bigger footed, big, long kind of heifer. I think relative to her extra length and frame, we could enhance her in terms of her body shape and her base width, but you like her bone and you like her length of body.
Results in your Angus show, class 1112, late summer yearling heifers. First place goes to entry 2478. That is PVF Blackbird 3133, exhibited by Albert Moeller of Grand Island, Nebraska. And second place, entry 4273, Colburn Elsa 3708, exhibited by Tuttle Cattle Company of Dorchester, Nebraska. Coming in the ring now, we have class 1114, early summer yearling heifers, born May to June of 2023.
Just a single entry here in class 1114 in the early summer yearling heifers. We've got Wyatt Smith out of Osceola, Nebraska, entry 1540 on Fitzgerald, made 231. She's a May 27th of 2023 heifer. Once we get done with this class, we're going to be rolling right into another division. That'll be your intermediate champion female we'll be selecting. So, again, that last class was Albert Moeller from Grand Island winning that class with PVF Blackbird 3133. And second in that class was Tuttle Cattle Company from Dorchester, Nebraska on Colburn Elsa 3708. We got a little commentary going on by Judge Fox over in the Balancer show. Once he concludes his commentary on that class, then Judge Jensen will be giving us comments on this single entry, and again, we'll be moving right into the intermediate division champion.
May heifer that's got some strength to her top. She's big and roomy out her hip and powerful. Young man's done a nice job getting this heifer presented. I think, she'll be a nice asset to work with as we complete this division. A lot of good to her top line and hip. You like her scale and her smoothness of joint work, a really solid single entry Angus female.
Results from your Balancer bull class. Class 1435, first place goes to entry 24.
Okay, folks, we're going to be moving into the intermediate champion female.
M1
We're going to have a
Lucky Cross Ranch
July heifer coming in here from Albert Moeller, Grand Island. That's PVF Blackbird 3133. And of course, our last class, we had the single entry there from Wyatt Smith from Osceola, Nebraska on Fitzgerald, made 231. That's a May 27th heifer. So we've got this pair. We'll pick our intermediate champion, and then I presume they'll bring in the second place female from the class 11-12, which was Tuttle Cattle Company out of Dorchester, Nebraska. That was Colburn Elsa 3708.
Class 1114, early summer yearling heifers. First place goes to entry 1540. That is Fitzgerald, made 231, exhibited by Wyatt Smith of Osceola, Nebraska. Now we are selecting our intermediate champion.
Okay, here comes Judge Brady Jensen to give some comments.
Both are good heifers. Just talked about them. This young lady's going to be your champion. Just a shot more refinement and freshness. Both females are good. Like the stoutness and power. We could just freshen her up a little bit to rival that winner. Congratulations.
All right, congratulations to the exhibitors here. And the intermediate champion female goes to Albert Muller, Grand Island, Nebraska on PVF Blackbird 31-33. And reserve goes to Wyatt Smith from Osceola, Nebraska on Fitzgerald Made 231. That will conclude the intermediate champion division. So now we're going to move into our junior yearlings, and our junior yearling division is going to span an age from March 1st back to January 1. I should say April 30th back to January 1st. So we're going to have a total of 7 in this first class, the largest class of the day that we're going to be looking at here. So we're going to, judges looking for how many he's got. We're going to be circling them. So let's give you a little rundown. We got Casey Meyer up front there coming in first from Blue Hill, Nebraska, entry 3730 on KLM Missy 2368. Followed by Braxton Reinerson from Broken Bow, Nebraska, entry 227 on Dow Porto Sandy 3542.
First place goes to entry 3855.
We've got Circle B Livestock, Albion, Nebraska, entry 2254, Henning Lady 3014. There's Triarnic Scimitals, Wymore, Nebraska, JSAR, Miss Bridget 1L.
Exhibited by Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska. In your balancer show, we will now be selecting your champion bull calf and reserve champion bull calf.
At 1546, we got Ryan Brenner from Mapleton, Iowa on Eude Sandy. At the 7th one coming in the ring. Looks like we might have got him juggled just a little bit. We might have to do the rundown one more time. So we got 2254. That's Circle B Livestock, Albion, Nebraska. 1836. Hadley Dunklaw, Wayne, Nebraska on WP Queen. And looks like we've got Tuttle Cattle Company, Dorchester, Nebraska, 4272. TCC Cami L33. Okay, we got them lined up. We got all 7 of them out here. Wow, what a class we've got. This is a fun one. Judge is going to have a lot of different things to see and talk about. Again, this is class 11-16. We're arranging and spanning the calendar from March 10th all the way to April 24th. Looks like we pulled in Circle B Livestock, Henning Lady 3014.
Coming in the balance arena now, we have
we've got 6 of them out.
That's an inserted class. May not be on your programs. It is
really a powerful class here.
But that'll be class.
Looks like Tuttle Cattle Company got pulled in. They will be in the number 6 position on TCC Cami L33.
It'll be class 1443 in the balancer side.
So we got 5 of them standing out there. 5 really, really nice ones, and not taking anything away from what's been pulled in, because this is a fantastic class. Entry 227 is getting pulled in for 5th. That is the young man from Broken Bow, Braxton Reinerson, on Dow Porto Sandy 3542. We got 4 of them standing out there. The judge is going to work a little bit more. We may cast them back in motion just to kind of look for some differences, because there's we've got a few different sizes and shapes that we're looking at here, but all 4 are just really, really good females that could go on and compete at a lot of different shows on the national level.
Coming in next will be class 1453 January Junior Yearling Bulls.
Judge is just getting through the group here, and certainly we've got some differences in this lineup, but again, 4 really good ones that these individuals should be proud of. That it's early in the year. You can go on to a lot of shows yet this year and be darn competitive. There's no doubt about that. I think Judge Jensen is maybe going to put them in motion again. Yep, he's going to throw them in motion, kind of let them get out and walk, and just kind of see some things on the stride here that maybe you can't see when you got them head to tail.
Your champion junior yearling bull goes to entry 33.
Again, just a quick rundown on who's left of the 4, if you will, that are being evaluated. We got Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska on KLM Missy.
Now we will be selecting our grand and reserve grand champion balancer bull in the north side of the arena.
Ryan Brenner from Mapleton, Iowa on Ude Sandy. We've got Charnick Simmental's exhibitor 1338 on JSAR Miss Bridget 1L. And we have Hadley Dunklau from Wayne, Nebraska. And that is entry 1836 WP Queen.
Held in the southeastern part of the
320.
state will be coming up here soon.
Well, now that the judges put them in motion, he probably found some differences that he can kind of start moving some cattle around. Looks like he's going to bring in Hadley Dunklau for the 4th spot.
The Nebraska Angus Tour gets travel around
3rd will be
every year, and they've got a whole schedule available there.
Young man from
Please make note of
Iowa.
the Nebraska Angus Tour, and they also have a raffle. The gift that keeps on giving, the 2024 Heifer raffle from the Angus.
So it looks like Charnix will win the class.
Nebraska
really
Angus
nice female.
They're selling raffle tickets. The drawing will take
the
place
Joan
at the
Stewart
Nebraska
program.
Angus Tour.
We've
Again,
got
ask for more details
Casey
about
Meyer,
that.
2nd place from Blue Hill on KLM Missy 2368, and 3rd is Ryan Brenner from Mapleton, Iowa. Here's a good class to talk.
Really fun to work with, just because there's so many good differences and probably discussion points, and probably a lot of ways you can flip and flop a few things around. I think heifer that wins comes in and doesn't grab you, but you like her, and the more you study into her, you like some parts and pieces. Probably the part that I would highlight the most is get on her top. That heifer's got a big top. It sets right behind her blades. It comes good over her loin and back into her hip, but I know that's not everything you start with. She covers all the basics. She's really good on her rear joint. She takes a nice step off of her hind leg. I like her length of hip quite well. She probably is a touch fresher than the next 2 heifers, and that probably aids in her advantage in terms of her look profile. You could maybe just critique her front feet ever so slight. I could give her a little more turn to the middle and lower part of her rib, but that heifer's got a big old top. She's loose in her skeleton. I think a solid female here to go ahead and lead off this class. The heifer that's 2nd, strong in terms of her outline. You like that look about her in terms of her top and her hip. Another female that's adequately designed off of her hip and her hind leg. She's pitched a touch forward in the angle of her shoulder for me. We could probably just freshen and lean her up ever so slightly, but big ribbed and good in her top line and nice off of her hind leg. I thought those were the advantages that she had. The heifer that comes in 3rd is certainly interesting to evaluate. She's probably the greasiest in terms of her condition of these 4 females, and if you want to get really critical of her for that, you can probably place her differently, but I like her kind an awful lot. She's so bold. She's a little more moderate, and I guess chunky might be the way you describe it, but I think she's good beef cattle underneath that extra condition and cover. She just gets a little low set up front, needs to be more extended and feminine, but big and bold in her rib, relatively loose and flexible in her skeleton. Then the tough one in terms of freshness is this heifer in 4th. She is the one that could be rewarded as much as any in terms of her leanness of condition. Very well presented kind of female that's sharp looking in terms of her neck. I think she handles her top line true. Structurally, I didn't know if she was quite up there in terms of freedom of movement to just get around those massive heifers that had a little more condition on them. Study her shoulder and her knee, maybe just how much she bases narrow from behind. But good female that gives you a nice look, certainly fresh in terms of her condition. Next heifer, solid kind of Angus cattle. She's feminine. She's sound enough in terms of her feet and legs, off of her hind leg in particular. I don't know if she quite hits you with the same extras. She's got a touch more shoulder and brisket. Needs to be just genuinely a touch bolder as you get in behind her. Next female is long-fronted, got some turn of her rib. I think in a tough class structurally, she's just a little more piecey. She's bigger shouldered. She gets a little piecey in her loin and tail head, but it's certainly a female that's functional as you study her in terms of her overall movement. The next female's long and loose and smooth, plenty flat built and narrow as you get behind the cattle.
Okay, there you have the conclusion of class 11-16. Again, 7 head in that class. Big class, powerful class, a lot of differences, and dang sure deep in quality. Your class winners, Charlay Scimitals from Wymore, Nebraska, JSAR Bridget, Miss 1L. Second was Casey Meyer, Blue Hill, Nebraska, KLM Missy 2368. Third was Ryan Brenner from Mapleton, Iowa on Ude Sandy 3093. Fourth was Hadley Dunklau, Wayne, Nebraska on WP Queen 320. Fifth was Braxton Reinerson from Broken Bow, Dow Porto Sandy 3542. Sixth was Tuttle Cattle Company, Dorchester, Nebraska, TCC Cami L33. Rounding out the field of 7 was Circle B Livestock, Albion, Nebraska, Henning Lady 3014. We move into class 11-20 now. 3 head in this class. We got Prime Genetics, entry 1887, and that is 360 Pure Pride 3102. We've got Kim Sieberts from Henderson, Nebraska, entry 3802 on KDS Valley's Pride. And rounding out our field of 3 here is O'Day Cattle, Indianola, Nebraska, entry 3893, and that is Bear Mountain Mrs. Jamie 3696. Got a range in age here from February 19 up to January 16. Our judge is going to give us comments on the class.
That surfaces in this case is just the best balance and combines it as bold in the middle part of her rib, deep back into her flank, plenty of dimension in that heifer as you study her all the way through. I think she just outclasses and outmasses this class. A solid kind of female. I think maybe we'll talk about a few things when it comes into the division about how she's built structurally, but all things considered, I think she wins the class rather handily. Heifer that comes in second, long-bodied, big outline female that's sure enough nice in her neck attachment, and you like that about her. Slicker-haired kind of female that's got a big rear foot. She needs to be enhanced in terms of the boldness to the middle part of her body. But when you're that long and stretched out, it's hard to have that kind of bulk and mass. I think she's got enough hip, enough bone, just runs out of gas in terms of her rib and her forerib. The Freeze-branded heifer is a useful kind of female as far as just length of stride. She's out of balance in terms of her brisket into her flank, but you like her strength, you like her hip, you like her bone and foot.
From your balancer show, your reserve grand champion balancer bull goes to entry 2410, LXR Rifleman M1, exhibited by Lucky Cross Ranch of Franklin, Nebraska. In the ring now in our balancer show, we are
okay, that rounds out that class 11-20. That was won by Prime Genetics, Kearney, Nebraska. 360 Pure Pride 3102. Second was Kim Siebert, Henderson, Nebraska. Entry 3802, KDS Valley's Pride 311.
Show from class 1116 late junior heifers. First place goes to entry 1338.
I'm sorry, I reversed that. O'Day Cattle from Indianola was second, 3893.
Nebraska. Second place, entry 3730, KL
on Bear Mountain, MRS Jamie 3696, and Kim Siebert, Henderson, Nebraska, was third, 3802, KDS Valley Pride 311. We are now moving into a division champion, bringing in these class winners. There's 2 class winners. 11-16 was Charlay Scimitals, Wymore, Nebraska, on JSAR Miss Bridget 1L. Second in that class was Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska. Entry 3730. KLM Missy 2368. Coming out of our last class, 1120, was Prime Genetics. Entry 1887, 360 Pure Pride 3102. And second in that class was O'Day Cattle, Indianola, Nebraska. Exhibitor 3893, Bear Mountain MRS, Jamie 3696. So we will be picking our junior champion female. And then once we conclude this division, we're going to roll it right on up into picking the grand champion female of the Open Angus Show here today at the Nebraska State Fair. If we're not doing anything, there's more shows coming today. At 4 o'clock today, we've got the Open Junior Show, and that'll be Dustin Hurlbut, who will be will be officiating that show. And then at 7 p.m., we're going to have the Open Feeder Calf Show, and we have another Dustin. That'll be Dustin Frank, who will be evaluating those cattle in that show. We've got, right now, back into the show, we've got the Angus division, and this is going to be Judge giving his comments.
Division here as we've worked through this Angus show. That first class probably had to talk a lot of differences. There was a lot of differences in that class, but what a good set of heifers as they come out here. They sure fit the part as you stop and look at them from the side or evaluate them on the move. Good cattle that you like an awful lot. The heifers out of class 2, we have one that I think fits in with those other two as far as her balance and her mass. Structurally, she's probably not quite at the same level they are as you watch her drive off her hind leg. Could be just a little square and more accurate as she plants. Heifer that was second to her, probably not quite as big ribbed as these other cattle, but she's sure long. She's got a big foot underneath of her. So I really liked all the cattle in that first class, quite a few of them. The two that are first and second will be your champion and reserve. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
All right, congratulations on the junior champion female. That goes to Charlay Semitoles of Wymore, Nebraska. That was entry 1338. That's JSAR Miss Bridget 1L. That is a March 20th heifer. Coming out of that same class, keeping the pair together, was Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska on KLM Missy 2368. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Just had a little bit of a trend here today in some of these divisions where we were first and second in some of the classes, those deeper classes, and they stayed together. We are now going to roll right back into picking our grand champion. We're going to have the division champions come out. That calf champion, early calf champion, was Tuttle Cattle Company, Dorchester, Nebraska, on TCC Judy M37. That's a February 26, 2024 calf. Then we had our next division in the senior calf, and that senior calf champion was Addie Kraus from Belgrade on LSCF Trixie. Coming out of the intermediate division was Albert Meyer from Grand Island, Nebraska on PVF Blackbird 3133. And then our last division, the junior female champion, was Charlay Semitoles, exhibitor 1338 on JSAR Miss Bridget 1L. So we've got our 4 division champions out there. The judge is going to talk them here. And, well, we got commentary coming from Brian Fox on the bull show across the way there for the balancers. And then Judge Brady Jensen will be giving his commentary on the individuals here that will be lined up for the grand champion Angus female here at the 2024 Nebraska State Fair. Looks like Judge Fox has got his comments done. Here's Judge Brady.
Well, exhibitors, great job bringing a good set of Angus cattle here to the State Fair for this heifer show. It was just a joy to work through the good cattle, and as we get into the show, boy, there was 2 classes that had just a lot of depth and a lot of quality that will stick with me throughout the 2 days that we get to spend here evaluating these cattle, that fall class and then that bred heifer class. So many really nice cattle in each of those, and those 2 heifers that rose up in those particular classes are very good, and I think it really comes down to those two females, and they're going to kind of duke it out here for champion and reserve. But congratulations, exhibitors. Thank you for bringing a great set of cattle out here. We're not going to get in and talk all the differences. I think both these heifers are awfully good. I'll show you which one I prefer. But congratulations. Please put your hands together and reward the Angus exhibitors with a round of applause.
That'll conclude the Angus show here today at the Nebraska State Fair. Congratulations to the grand champion female being exhibited by Charlay Semital's, Wymore, Nebraska. Exhibitor 1338, JSAR Miss Bridget 1L. I know they've had a very successful year campaigning that female at various shows throughout Nebraska and nationwide, and been highly competitive in the Angus division. The reserve is LSCF Trixie. That is exhibited by Addison Krause, Belgrade, Nebraska. Addison, congratulations to you as well. Pair of really, really nice females there. Looking forward to seeing the bull show. We're going to move into the bull show here, potentially after pictures.
We're doing the Nebraska show. Bred known show first. Nebraska bred known show on the Angus side. And we're still working on our group.
Going to work our way through the
class 1464 pair of calves.
Logistics here and figure out if we're going to go take pictures or if we're going to move right into the bull show. We'll hold tight, see what we're going to have come at us.
Second place to Barwick Gelvey of Orleans, Nebraska. And third place to Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska.
We're going to move into a Nebraska bred and owned division here within the Angus show. And looks like there's a lot of familiar ones that we did see throughout the day here, and class winners, division winners. So looks like this should be a highly competitive show. Again, this is the Nebraska division.
Results in your balancer pair of calves. First place goes to Easton Bowes of Orleans, Nebraska. Second place to Barwick Gelvey of Orleans, Nebraska. Third place to Steinkruger Farms of Upland, Nebraska. And fourth place to Neil Voss of Bruning, Nebraska. Next in will be our pair of yearlings. Got 2 entries in that class.
When our Nebraska bred and owned show, we have some cattle that were very competitive as we worked through the show. Strong placings from quite a few of these cattle. So just briefly, I think as you look crossed here, you're going to respect what these cattle do. They're good cows that are built right structurally and body. They have some quality to them. There's probably 2 that really stick out to me. One would be this bred heifer here that was, I believe, reserve division. Shoulders back, you like her body, you like her hip, and the way she's designed down to her hind leg. I think a female that certainly looks right in terms of her side view profile. She's pitched a little far forward in her shoulder. We could lean her up just a skosh. The heifer that comes here in the final group is really unique, in my opinion. She's lean. She's big-footed and she's heavy-boned. She's really loose-structured. For as lean as she is, I complimented her on leanness because I think she's so genuinely bold in the middle part of her body. She's big and wide out of her hip. I think there's just a lot of unique parts by her. She intrigues me the most. She's going to be your champion out here. Congratulations to that young lady.
Congratulations, exhibitor 5045, Frank Cattle and Genetics from Chapel, Nebraska, having the grand champion bred and owned, winning that division here at the Nebraska State Fair. That was female as the judge found, gravitated towards, and really appreciated the foot size, the structure, the bone work, the amount of mass, but yet the leanness and freshness of that heifer calf. That was a fall heifer calf. Fantastic female, ended up being reserved in her division. Highly competitive Nebraska division that she wins. Congratulations to Frank Cattle and Genetics.
Nebraska. Second place goes to Cody Brown of Dwight, Kansas. In the ring, we need to do our breeders group and the balance.
Next, we'll be moving into the bull show once
and
we conclude getting pictures taken here of the females. 1134 will be the class coming in. There's going to be 4 bulls in that class. And then we're going to have some spacing, and then we're going to have 3 single entries. We're going to have 7 total bulls exhibited in the Angus show today, bulk of which will be coming out of that first class, the calves.
Coming up next,
then we'll go to late summer yearling bulls, then we'll go to a late junior yearling bull, then we'll go to a early junior yearling bull. So got 3 single entries that'll be coming in there.
In our Angus show, I believe we're taking a quick break for pictures, and then we will be starting our bull calf show. We'll be done with pictures here very shortly, and we'll be starting our bull calf show in the Angus arena. In the north side of the arena, we'll be taking a short picture break for the judge, and then we'll be starting our Highland show here coming up quickly. We are ready to start our Angus bull classes for the day. First class of bulls will be class 1134, early junior bull calves born January and February of 2024. Serving as our judge in our south side of the arena is Brady Jensen of Cortland, Kansas. And we are ready for our first class.
Okay, they're going to be waltzing in class 1134, which is going to be the first class of the Angus bulls. Moving in here, gotta have to grab some glasses if I'm going to try and read the program. Okay, we got Cooper Elson, Miller, Nebraska. He has got SPEC Grand Teton 4001. That's a January 4th bull calf. We got Kim Siebert from Henderson, Nebraska. KMS Galverton 407, January 25th bull calf. Another entry here from Kim Siebert, Henderson, Nebraska. KDS Barkley 417. That's a January 30th bull calf. And then rounding out the field, we've got Casey Meyer, Blue Hill, Nebraska. 4M Reckoning 452. That is a February 26th bull calf. So we got a little range in age here from early January till the end of February. 4 bull calves in this class. If you're wanting to watch anybody in the Angus Bull Show, this is going to be half of the show right here, a little over half. We've got 7 total bulls that'll be in the show, and that will be concluding here probably relatively quick, because once we get past these 4, the other 3 are all single entries. Just a little plug for some shows this afternoon going on. At 4 o'clock today, we've got the Open Junior Show going on. Dustin Hurlbert will be judging that. And then at 7 p.m., we got the Open Feeder Calf Show going on, and that's going to be sorted by Mr. Dustin Frank. So a lot of shows, a lot of activities going on here at the Nebraska State Fair. Looks like the judge is getting things narrowed down.
Good looking bull to lead off this calf class of 4 individuals. I think just in terms of the way he's built from the ground up, his athleticism and his look from the profile allows him to dominate this particular class. A bull that's got a bright future. We could probably intensify his mass and muscle, but for a calf at this stage in the game, you like his build quality and his structure and his balance a good deal. The next 3 cattle, I think, offer some give and take. This young man's bull calf's a little bolder made, a little more three-dimensional in terms of his hip and muscle and power. As you study him all the way back, he's probably not as loose built as our winner. As you study him off either end of his skeleton. The next 2 cattle, both freeze-branded cattle. This calf I elect to slide into 3rd, I think, is a little more masculine. As you study his head, his neck, and his crest, good testicular development. He's a wide-based kind of bull. You like that about him. He walks a little outside himself off his hind legs. He's a little bigger shouldered, but I like his mass and I like his masculinity. If you want to inject more frame and length into a calf crop, this bull calf that ends might be your choice. I thought he was a little flatter made and hocked in more from behind.
Results from class 1134, early junior bull calves. First place, and this will be your champion junior bull calf, goes to entry 3728, 4M Reckoning 452, exhibited by Casey Meyer of Blue Hill, Nebraska. Second place, entry 1987, SPEC Grand Teton 4001, exhibited by Cooper Elson of Miller, Nebraska. Third place, the entry 3806, KMS Galvatron 407, exhibited by Kim Siebert of Henderson, Nebraska. And fourth place, entry.
Okay, congratulations to Casey Meyer there. 3rd bull calf, 4M Reckoning, winning that class. Now we're going to move on here, and we are moving into the late summer yearling bulls. We've got Wendell Custer from Cushing, Oklahoma, all the way from Cushing, Oklahoma. Always glad to see people from out of state come. Single entry here
In the ring now, we've got a
Sage
Class
Brush
1140
Blast,
late summer yearling bulls.
2433, single entry. Judges evaluated and be given some commentary.
July bull here that comes to us as a single entry. Nice profiling bull that's got a good look up front. You like his masculine look about his crest. Bull that's athletic when he's out on the move. I think a good solid bull to work through this Angus show. I think he'll be an asset as we continue to work through and come to the conclusion of our bull show.
Okay, congratulations to Wendell Custer from Cushing, Oklahoma. That is not only the class winner, but that is also the division champion.
Exhibited by Wendell Custer of Cushing, Oklahoma.
Next up, we're going to have Class 1144 late junior yearling bulls.
Coming in now,
actually, this is going to be Wendell Custer again, and he's going to have his bull TMG Salvation come in the ring. That is in April 29th, 2020. Easy for me to say. That is in April 29th, 2023, son. Again, if you're just tuning in, we got sorting our cattle today is Brady Jensen from Cortland, Kansas. And looks like Wendell's got his other bull grabbed. He's going to bring him in the ring here again. This is a late yearling junior yearling bull. April bull calf that Wendell will be bringing in. Wendell's from Cushing, Oklahoma. This is TMG Salvation 103. Again, a single entry in this class.
A really useful April bull that brings us out here. Another athletic kind of bull that's balanced correctly, structured correctly. We could probably enhance his muscle, but I think all things considered, he's useful. He's attractive up front. He's good in his skeleton. A very good bull, again, that's going to add to the quality of this Angus bull lineup shortly.
First place in Class 1144 late junior yearling bulls. First place goes to entry 199, TMG Salvation 103, exhibited by Wendell Custer of Cushing, Oklahoma.
Okay, now we're going to move into the early junior yearling bulls. This will be a January 25th bull. This is coming from Brianna Brown out of Pleasanton, Nebraska. This is SR Wall Street 342.
We end with this big barreled, big rib kind of bull. A little more condition on this bull than the previous two we looked at. That's just kind of a discussion point. But he's got good masculinity as you study him up front. You like his rib and the amount of mass that he has out of his hip. We could probably just have his testicles be a little more even as you look at their descent. Maybe not quite as nice in his structure, but you like his bulk and his mass and his power.
Results from Class 1148 early junior yearling bulls. First place goes to entry 1796, SR Wall Street 342, exhibited by Brianna Brown of Pleasanton, Nebraska. Now we'll be selecting our junior champion bull from those last two classes.
So they're going to bring those single entries back in. We're going to have a division. We'll have our champion junior bull, and then we're going to bring in those two division champions, the calf champion and the junior champion bull. We'll be selecting your grand champion Angus bull here at the 2024 Nebraska State Fair. Coming in, you've got TMG Salvation is brought to you by Wendell Custer at the halter from Cushing, Oklahoma. The bull on the left that you see on your screen is SR Wall Street 342.
Here, to evaluate, the differences are the bull up front is better structured and looser made, really good in his design and his profile. We talked earlier, we could enhance his muscularity ever so slightly, but he's good-footed, He's long-bodied and he's nice in his look as you study him in his balance and the way he's built in his top line and hip. Big, bold made bull that's got more condition on him, is more opened up and powerful. As you study him from end to end, probably like to change his feet and leg structure. In my opinion, that's the differences in the bulls, and I prefer the structural design of the bull up front to win this division. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Wendell Custer on TMG Salvation 103. And congratulations to Brianna Brown, SR Wall Street 342. Brianna hails from Pleasanton, Nebraska. So I said 2 divisions earlier. I apologize. There's 3 division winners. There's the calf champion, which that will be Casey Meyer from Blue Hill, Nebraska, with 4M Reckoning. That'll be the first one in the ring. That is a February 26th bull calf. And then coming in the next division, which is our intermediate bull champion, that's Wendell Custer from Cushing, Oklahoma, and he's got Sagebrush Blast 2433. And then Wendell will be on the halter of the junior champion bull, and that is TMG Salvation. We've got 3 bulls out here, 3 division winners. We've got the reserve calf. So a total of 4 bulls out here, 3 division winners. Judge Jensen will do some looking and some sorting, and he'll be selecting grand champion bull here very quickly.
So we get out to our final selection of our champion and reserve champion Angus bull, a competitive drive. As you look down the lineup, I think choices to make because solid bulls that have some usefulness and ability to go out and work for these firms or maybe be marketed to somebody else to cover some cows. So we got a nice looking, good structured bull here out of this first division. I think he's got a bright future in front of him. One that I definitely think has an opportunity to continue to get better even as he comes to us as good as he is today. The next bull, a nice bull in terms of athleticism. You like the design of his hip and his hind leg. He's a masculine kind of bull, just a solid bull that runs maybe a little out of gas too as far as just stoutness of foot and bone, but you like the way he's angled off of his hock and his hind leg. The big division of bulls were a little different. You had a longer bodied, nice pattern bull that was really good structured, that needs a touch more muscle. And we had a big, powerful bull we could change structurally. This young man's calf that was second in that class of 4, pretty opened up in his base width and his mass, maybe not structured quite like these 3 class winners. That's what's nice. We get out here into our champion drive for a bull show that only brought us 7 or 8 entries. We find some good, useful, structured bulls to land on to be rewarded as your champion in reserve. If I'm taking a bull home to turn out, I think it's going to be this calf. He's going to be your champion Angus bull. Congratulations.
Okay, there is the conclusion of the Angus Bull Show here at the Nebraska State Fair. Your grand champion bull was exhibited by Casey Meyer, and that was 4M Reckoning. Congratulations to Casey, family, and all involved. Reserve grand champion was your junior bull champion, exhibitor 199, Wendell Custer out of Cushing, Oklahoma. Congratulations to Wendell and the crew there. That pair of nice bulls to round out the field and round out the show here in the Angus Show. So that is the conclusion of the Angus Show. The next show up that we would have today on this ring is going to be the Charlay Show. We're going to take a break. We'll get some pictures, and we'll be back at you. That will conclude the Angus portion. And then, like I say, we'll be moving to the Charlays next. And also, don't forget, at 4 p.m. today, the Open Junior Show is going to be going on. Dustin Hurlburt will be doing the sorting. And then again this evening at 7 p.m., we've got the Open Feeder Calf Show. And the Open Feeder Calf Show will be sorted by Dustin Frank. So we're going to take a break and be back at you.
Born January to April of 2024. On the south side of our arena, after pictures are taken, we will be starting our Charlay show. Brady Jensen will be evaluating and sorting the Charlay division. Please bring your Charlay entries up towards the show ring, please. Results from Class 1004 Junior Heifer Calves born in January to April of 2024 in our Highland Show. First place, and this will be your champion junior heifer, goes to entry 1253, Mid Lakes She's Got Away, exhibited by Todd Green of Mindoro, Wisconsin. Second place goes to entry 1800, and this will be your reserve champion junior heifer calf. That is MES Amazing Anja, exhibited by Matthias Schulte of Kearney, Nebraska. Third place, entry 1799, MES Silver Sylvia, exhibited by Matthias Schulte of Kearney, Nebraska. And fourth place, entry 3768, BUU Journey, exhibited by Husker Show Cattle, LLC of York, Nebraska. Those were your champion and reserve champion junior heifer calves. Coming in the ring now, we have Class 1006. These are senior heifer calves born September 1st to December 31st of 2023.
Very nice single entry here, another one that could use some competition, but a heifer, I think you got to appreciate that center body she brings to the table. She's got a really neat we set her into motion, she maybe wants to close up there in her hock, but I like her foot size, I like her bone. Very nice single entry and deserving division winner. Congratulations.
Results from Class 1006 Senior Heifer Calves. First place goes to entry 5049. That is GHF Roulette, exhibited by Heather Valley of Laramie, Wyoming. That will be your automatic champion senior heifer calf. And coming up next, we've got Class 1008 intermediate yearling heifers born May 1st, August 31st of 2023.
Extra reach she has out of both ends of her skeleton. One that's good in her lines and good in her spine. One that probably not the biggest one we're going to see today or the most powerful, but very, very well balanced, complete sort of female to go ahead and win this summer division.
Results from Class 1008 intermediate yearling heifers. First place, and this will be your champion intermediate yearling heifer, goes to entry 77. The name of the animal is Bauer Farms 24K Diamond, exhibited by Courtney Bauer of Bucyrus, Kansas. Coming up next, we will have Class 1010 junior yearling heifers born January 1st, April 30th of 2023. Coming from this class, it'll be your automatic champion and reserve champion junior yearling heifer. Looks like on the south side of our arena, we'll be starting our Charlay show here very shortly. We're getting the last of the first exhibitors up here. In the south side of our arena, we're starting our Charlay show. Serving as our judge today is Brady Jensen of Cortland, Kansas. Coming in the arena now is Class 1202 Spring Heifer Calves born March 1st of 2024 or after.
Okay, good morning from the Nebraska State Fair. We are now going into the first class of the Charlay Open Show. Largest class of the day here. We've got 27 females that Judge Jensen will get the opportunity to evaluate. We got about a third of them, almost a fourth of them here in this first class. We got 7 head in the calf class. We've got Marches and Aprils. We've got 7 of them here. We got Circle B Livestock from Albion, Nebraska. We got J. Barty and Benish from Junietta, Nebraska. We got Dibdall Charlays with the next 2 from Newcastle, Nebraska. We've got Bo Thompson from Pender, Nebraska. Beamer Cattle from Hoskins, Nebraska. And then we've got Gage Thompson from Pender, Nebraska. In 7 head in this class. Got 4 of them out there right now. Oh, looks like Judge has got a little switch on a pair down here. Like, okay. 22.55. Circle B Livestock is going to be 4th. Here we go for reasons.
Charlay show, and a pretty captivating heifer to go ahead and win this class. She's good today. I see her really good down the road as well. Structurally, she's far superior amongst this set. Really good built, awesome bodied. I think that female's got a bright future in front of her. The next 2 cattle are very similar, maybe depending on your preference, which you may lean in towards. They're both a little bit maybe not quite comfortable out here. This heifer that comes in second, I think, is going to raise you a herd bull at some point. She's long, she's stout, she's neat looking up front and angular. She's a little coarser in her shoulder and joint. You'd like to maybe just see her a touch more refined. I liked her movement off of her hind foot and pastern and the way she sets in her tail head better than the heifer that's third. The heifer that's third, some people might be more pleased with her refinement. She's smoother shouldered. She's just a little more toned back as far as muscle and power. But I think when she is that, I wanted her to be better structured than the heifer in second to make that call. She's a little rigid moving off of her hock and how she plants down to her hind leg. This next female was the first one there amongst that group of 4 we were evaluating. Big ribbed. She's a little bit further behind as far as condition and comes off a little refined. I'd like to stouten her bone up. I'd like to just see a little more stretch and length of body to that heifer. I switched these next 2 cattle because I thought they were close, and at the end of the day, this young man's heifer just strikes me really broody. She's big ribbed, she's heavy boned, she's looser structured, maybe a touch plainer to look at about her head, neck, and shoulder design, but her overwhelming volume or stoutness of bone or looseness to her skeleton ended up sliding her up a spot. More refinement and smoothness in this heifer that turns the corner, a little quick stepping off of her hind leg, more frail in her bone and flatter as you get behind the cattle. We're going to conclude the set with a feminine made female that's greener. She's a little short and round out of her hip and puts her tail head on high. We could just set that part of her hip down a little different, give her a little more body volume versus the cattle ahead.
Catching up on some
Okay, that
results
takes
from our
Class
Highland
1202
show.
off the board.
For
We're going to be
Class
moving to
10-10
Class
junior yearling heifers,
1204.
first place
Again,
goes
we're
to
at
entry
the
5051
Open
CSF
Charlay show here at the
Mendota,
Nebraska State Fair.
exhibited
For
by
those of you just
Climbing
tuning
Stump
in,
Farm of Harris,
sorting the
Minnesota.
cattle today and
Second place,
evaluating
entry
and giving the
4991.
reasons is
Trinity's
Judge Brady Jensen from
Holly's
Cortland,
Twilight,
Kansas.
exhibited by
We got
Rennie
Class
Silva
1204
of
coming in
Greeley,
the ring
Colorado.
here. We've got
Third place,
four
entry
head.
700 PC
We've got
Laramie, exhibited by Thomas McConnell of
Cowboy
Gallatin,
Becky
Minnesota.
421,
Fourth place, entry
exhibited by
5048.
Cooper
Lazy
Elson
Vistas
from
Lily,
Miller,
exhibited
Nebraska.
by Golden Hour
We've got
Farm
entry
of Hiram, Utah.
4587
And fifth
HF
place,
Penny
entry 5050
79M, which is
WYH
from Heim
Moon
Farms
Pie,
in Plattsmouth,
exhibited by
Nebraska.
Heather Valley
Then we
Cattle
move into
of
entry
Laramie,
3369 MD
Those were also
Macy
your champion and reserve
4172 of
champion junior yearlings.
brought to you
And
by
in the class
Dibdall
now
Charlays in Newcastle,
Class
Nebraska.
10-12 senior
And
yearling
another
heifers.
entry from Dibdall
Results from
Charlays
your
in
first
Newcastle.
class
That
of
would be entry
Charlay heifers, class
3366
12-12,
MD
spring
Maya
heifer calves. First place goes
4170.
to entry 4017.
Age on the heifers in this class, we're going to have a
KTS
range from January
Dolly
4th to February 9th.
exhibited by Beamer Cattle
And that rounds out the
Company
field of four.
Hoskins,
We got them all
Nebraska.
here. No
Second
scratches.
place goes to entry
We got
3370
27
DC
head total in the
NBCC
show today.
Whiteside,
And
4174,
we're going to
exhibited
have
by
11 head
Dibdall
out of the
Charlay,
way here
Newcastle,
just as soon as we
Nebraska.
conclude this
Third
class.
place
And once we
to
do
entry
conclude this class, we're going to be moving into the Junior
DC
Calf Champion.
NBCC Bright Lights,
We're champion in reserve, and then we'll
4173,
move
exhibited by
into the
Dibdall
senior
Charlay
heifer
of
calves,
Newcastle,
which there'll
Nebraska.
just be one class
Fourth
in those
place,
senior
entry
heifer calves.
2255, Circle B
So
Snow.
if you're tuning in at home, we thank you for watching. And if you've got
M2ET,
questions,
exhibited by
commentary, or
Circle B
just some
Livestock
comments on the
of
State
Albion,
Fair in general,
Nebraska.
we'd like to hear from you.
Fifth place,
402
entry
314 4488. You can go ahead and text in
is
some messages if you
Animal's
so
ID is
desire. We always
419,
like to hear
exhibited
from
by
those that
Bo
are
Thompson of
watching
Pender, Nebraska.
out there
Sixth
far
place,
and
entry
wide.
2363, J Bar T BC Bunny 402M, exhibited by
Looks like the
J Bar
judge is
T
starting
Menish
to
Cattle of
get these
Juniata,
cattle
Nebraska.
lined up. He's
And
got a couple of them
seventh place,
pulled
entry
in. He's got his
3708,
top two.
Animal ID
And
of
we're going to have Judge
414,
Jensen give us his reasons
exhibited
here
by
as soon
Gage
as
Thompson
the
of Pender,
announcer's
Nebraska. In
done with
ring now on
the
our Charlay
alignments
show
over
is
there
Class
in the
1204
Highlander
junior
show.
heifer calves born January and February of 2024.
A good competitive class. These top pair of cattle, I think, are awfully good heifers. The differences I see is the heifer that wins the class is so smooth in her shoulder design, really nice fronted, really good structured as you watch her feet hit the ground. Maybe you could tone down the length of her toe and give her a little more depth of heel, but her smoothness and her length and her attractiveness from the side are really hard to look past. You could say, well, I'd give her a little more to her, but you get behind her, that heifer's got plenty of squareness down her top and mass from behind. Heifer that's second is stouter. She's bigger bone. She's bigger hip. I think with that comes a little more shoulder. She's not tucked in as nice at the top side of her shoulder blades. Comes in a little bit bolder and coarser in terms of her joint and her hock as well. But loose skeletoned and stout. She's good cattle as well, that heifer that comes in second. The heifer that's third here is another female that I think has some quality to her. She comes in the ring. You're drawn to the fact that she's stout in her foot and bone. She's got a good rear foot. She hits the ground nice. Maybe you'd change how she's coming out of her hip. She's a little low set out of her pins. Again, another heifer we could smoothen out at the point of her shoulder just a little bit, but a good female at the end of the day. Those are three awfully good heifers at the top end of this Charlay class. We're going to close with a heifer that's bigger ribbed and more advanced as far as condition goes versus the other three cattle ahead of her. She's not cut from the same cloth structurally, a little more refined in her bone work, wants to kind of cross her back legs as she walks, just like to give her more coordination in how she steps down from hock to ground.
Okay, a quick wrap on Class 1204 in the Junior Heifer Calf division here. We've got entry 4587 HF Penny 79N, exhibited by Heim Farms, Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Winning the class, second in the class was entry 3366 MD Maya 4170, exhibited by Dibdall Charlays of Newcastle, Nebraska. As well, Dibdall Charlays had third, and that was entry 3369 MD Macy 4172. Rounding out the field was entry 1984 Cowboy Becky 421 by Cooper Elson out of Miller, Nebraska. We're going to move into sorting for a division here. And out of the first class, we got Beamer Cattle, Hoskins, Nebraska. That's KTS Dolly 401. That's a April 1st heifer. And then coming out of your last class is Heim Farms from Plattsmouth, Nebraska. That's HF Penny. 79M, and that is a February 2nd heifer. They did bring in the second place as well. Second place in the first class was Dibdall Charlays of Newcastle, Nebraska on DC NBCC Whiteside 4174. And out of the second class, we had Dibdall Charlays as well from Newcastle, Nebraska, entry 3366 MD Maya 4170. So we will be picking the junior calf champion right now, and once this is done, we will be moving on to the next class, which is 1208. That's going to be the senior heifer calf, September 1 to October 30. That'll be one division, and then we'll be moving on into the late summer yearlings. So class is going to move along pretty quick. Judge is ready to give his comments on the division, and he'll be picking the champion of the division here.
Exhibited by Heifer Farm of Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Second placed, entry 3365. That is MD Maya 4170, exhibited by Dibdall Charlay of Newcastle, Nebraska. Third placed, entry 3369, MD Macy 4172, exhibited by Dibdall Charlay of Newcastle, Nebraska. And fourth placed, entry 1984, Cowboy Becky 421, exhibited by Cooper Elson of Miller, Nebraska. Coming in the Charlay Arena, we'll be selecting our junior calf and reserve junior calf champion females.
The Charlay show has stepped off fast. We come in with a lot of good cattle. It's been impressive to see the depth of these calf classes, and my compliments to the exhibitors and breeders for bringing a lot of good heifer calves here early in the year and early in the stage of their life, getting them halter broke and prepared to show to us here at the Nebraska State Fair. Our seconds are similar. They're stout, they're powerful cattle. Maybe you like the lines and balance of the heifer that comes out of the first class a little more, but she's probably a touch coarser designed. The heifer that comes out of the second class was deep and flexible, but maybe comes a little piecier and plainer in design. I think it comes down to these two class winners. You have a captivating little calf that's big-ribbed and sound with such a bright future. I think you got a female that's really long and elegant that comes to us out of the second class, that you like her mobility. Her front structure is very, very good. A little awkward yet and kind of calfy in how she handles her hind leg, but I think as that heifer matures, she's going to grow in and look like a high-quality female the rest of her life. I'm overwhelmed with the quality of the calf here out of the first class. That's going to be your champion. Class winner out of 2 will be reserve.
Okay, so there you have the results of your junior calf champion, Beamer Cattle Company, Hoskins, Nebraska. Congratulations on your exhibitor there, KTS Dolly 401, and then congratulations to Heifer Farms, Plattsmouth, Nebraska on HF Penny 79M. Pair of really nice, high-quality heifer calves. Look, this show's getting started off with some fast, as the judge said, and then the water's getting deep even quicker. So we shall see as we move on into these older heifers. We're going to be moving into the senior heifer calves here, September 1 to October 30. There's going to be 3 coming at us in this class. Coming in first is going to be exhibitor 2250,
junior calf champion female,
Carlay, exhibited by Hannah Schnull from Beatrice, Nebraska. Coming in next is entry 3705. That is 2330, and that is exhibited by Gage Thompson of Pender, Nebraska. The third heifer to round out our field is entry 2245, and that's Nancy. Nancy's being exhibited by Zach Schnull from Beatrice, Nebraska. Oh, we got a pair of heifers here from Beatrice, Nebraska, and one from Pender, Nebraska. We are looking at October 6th of 23 up to October 27th of 23 as far as birth dates on these. Young man's hanging on there. Done a nice job keeping her under control. And a nice job of cowboying up.
Grand champion Highland female goes to entry 3772.
Judge is going to let him round here and get him head to tail, and Judge Jensen will be picking them out, and he'll be putting them in order. He'll be giving us his reasons here shortly on this class 1208 in the Open Charlay show here at the Nebraska State Fair.
HS Lovestruck, exhibited by Husker Show Cattle of York, Nebraska. Congratulations to you exhibitors in the Highland Show. We will be showing we're going to take pictures after the cow-calf class, so Highlanders, please bring your cow-calf pairs into the ring now, and then we'll take pictures following that.
This young man's going to bring us a female that I think fits in the middle of the two, just behind as far as type and kind, and that's why I think she wins the class, because she's the female that best combines refined cow-like image, big and bold in her rib, and powerful in terms of her muscle, but still looks like a lady in terms of her joint work and her head and neck. Really a solid female here to go ahead and lead off this class of 3. The most powerful, most muscular heifer is going to be the young man's heifer that comes in second. Really admire the amount of bone that she has. She's stout down her top and out of her hip. With that, she's probably not quite as refined in her joints, a little more rigid in how she's built structurally, but you like her stoutness and power. I thought her extra body advantage was enough to get around the young lady's heifer that closes the set. This young lady's heifer is long and extended in her type and her kind, a little tighter flanked and more raw in her muscle pattern, but a female that you do like in terms of frame and length, extra performance versus the heifer in front of her.
Okay, that rounds out the division. Congratulations to Gage Thompson, Pender, Nebraska, entry 3705. 2330, and reserve in that division was entry 2245, Nancy, exhibited by Zach Schnuel from Beatrice, Nebraska. Once again, I apologize, and I'm going to have to reserve the right to mispronounce names and or cities. So if I am wrong, you can certainly give me a text and get me back in line at 402-314-4488, and we'll make the needed corrections. Moving on in the show, we're getting to the late summer yearling females. This will be a August heifer calf from Benish Cattle Company from Valparaiso, Nebraska. This is Easel BCR Kira 390 PLD.
This young man brings us a good August-born female. I think as you study her in terms of her rib cage, you're going to like her. She's bold in her forerib. Like the way she's designed through the middle part of her body and back into her flank. She's still refined about her head and neck. Could just stretch her out and lengthen her out of her hip a little bit, but I think a functional female that's built right from the ground up, certainly bold and big in her rib cage.
Results from Class 1210 in your Charlay Show, late summer yearling females. First place goes to entry 2058. That is ESUL BCR Kiera 390 PLD, exhibited by Benish Cattle Company of Valparaiso, Nebraska. That will be your automatic intermediate champion.
Congratulations to the intermediate champion female from Benish Cattle Company out of Valparaiso, Nebraska on Kira.
April 1st, April 30th of 2023.
We're going to move into Class 1214, and we're going to be looking at a set of, actually a single entry here from Amelia Heller from Pilger, Nebraska on BCC5 Bullard Katie. Oh, turn the page, they tell me in the program. We have another one. We've got entry 2012, WFR Delilah 3166P, exhibited by Matt Ditloff of Bradshaw, Nebraska. So we got a pair of heifers in there. I apologize, Matt. I didn't mean to miss you. I just did not turn the page of the program. So got a pair of April heifers here in the late spring yearling show. Then we'll move to our next class, the early spring yearlings. Then we're going to have a junior champion female. So if you've got somebody that you're watching or you want to watch the grand champion selection, that grand champion selection is 1, 2, 3 classes away and 2 divisions. So probably here in the not so distant future by 12:30, the judge will probably be out there selecting his grand champion open Charlay female at the Nebraska State Fair.
We're going to leave these two heifers as they come into the ring, but I think the placing is very close. Young lady's got a heifer that I favor because of her foot shape. Both females move fine as you watch them cover the ring. This heifer that wins the class, I think, really does float. She's big-footed and comfortable moving. She's just a shot smoother in her hock joint and smoother in her shoulder. I like her length and her ladylike look up front. Not as bold-bodied, not as big-hipped, and probably a little leaner condition, so gives up some body mass and hip to the heifer in second. And that's where you like that heifer in second. She is stout, and she is bold and massive down her top. You like the dimension she brings from hooks to pins and on down to the ground. I'd change her foot shape just a little bit. I think we can see she's not quite as ladylike about her head, neck, and shoulder design, but that's a good pair of heifers that offer some good give and take and discussion.
Okay, that's going to round out Class 12-14. Congratulations to BCC5 Bullard Katie, entry 2247, exhibited by Amelia Heller of Pilger, Nebraska. And rounding out our field is a young man, Matt Detloff from Bradshaw, Nebraska, entry 2012 WFR Delia 3166P. Next up is going to be Class 12-16. We're going to have the early spring yearling females. Be covering the month of March from the 9th to the 31st. We're going to have 4 in this class. I got the young man. He's getting a new halter. Going to bring in his next female. Be the young man from Bradshaw. It is entry 2013 BCC5 Bullard Whitney will be the first one in the ring. And again, that's Matt Detloff from Bradshaw, Nebraska. He'll be leading them in the ring in the pole position coming in. Following Matt in the ring is going to be entry 3110 TR Miss Lucy 3700 LET, and that is exhibited by Krebs Cattle Company of Gordon, Nebraska. Next up is entry 3701 368. That's exhibited by Bo Thompson of Pender, Nebraska. And the fourth one in the ring is going to be entry 4158 R&K RCC Miss Lori Darlin, exhibited by Brantley Went of Lee, Nebraska. 4 in the class. We have 4 in the ring. We're going to be racing here. 4 very nice Charlay females for the judge to sort. Again, if you're just tuning in, our judge is Brady Jensen from Cortland, Kansas. This would be the third show of the day that he has sorted. Started off the day at the Red Angus. We moved through the Black Angus. And now we're on the Charlays. While we're talking about shows, just a little plug here, but at 4 o'clock we're going to have the Open Junior show today. And then at 7 o'clock tonight we're going to be having the Open Feeder Calf show. So those of you that want to tune in and watch some of the junior show and the open show, please do so. That's at 4 o'clock. And then here at 7 o'clock, if you got yourself in the market or you're starting to look for those next year's projects, there's going to be the Open Feeder Calf show starting at 7 p.m.
First place goes to entry 1798 MES Mayday, exhibited by Matthias Schulte of Kearney, Nebraska. Second place, entry 1256 Ledyards Bowmore Brianna, exhibited by Todd Green of Mindoro, Wisconsin. And third place, entry 3769 CBS Jazzy, exhibited by Husker Show Cattle of York, Nebraska. We will now be starting our Highland Bull Show.
Got a pair of powerful heifers that come to the top end of this class. Young lady's heifer that I elect to use to surface, I find more favorable in terms of a mature cow size. She hits me just a little more in line in that regard. She's more captivating as the cattle are stopped and parked in terms of the way she's designed, out of her hip and down to her hind leg. Both cattle could be just a little looser skeletoned and more comfortable as they're asked to go. Heifer that young man has its second is big and stout out of her hip. She'll certainly inject more performance and body length into her calf crop. She's a little up and down in her shoulder and knee and twists out up front. I'd like to just tone her back a little bit in terms of how she's built and relax her skeleton. But that's a nice pair of heifers at the top end of this good Charlay class. A big-bodied heifer this young man has next that's really probably quite a bit different type than the two that were just in front of her. She's deeper in her heart, bigger back into her flank, and you might favor that kind of image. It's a little different, but I'd probably think she doesn't come to us quite as exquisite. A little higher tail-headed, a little crestier necked. Structurally, she too's a little bit tighter moving. If she's loose-built or really awesome structured, she gives those top two all they want. Young man's heifer that closes the class has a hip shape and desirable muscle shape that you look for in good Charlay cattle, and I appreciate that about her. She's a female that's got body length and performance to her. She gets a little out of balance. She's the deepest at the point of her chest and gets shallower on back in terms of her underline, so we'd like to just change how she's shaped and designed underneath, but a big, long, muscular heifer that closes this class.
Okay, that rounds out class 12-16. We're now getting ready for the division champion. Our junior champion female. We'll have a pair of class winners coming out here. Winner of that class 12-14, entry 2247, BCC5 Bullard Katie. That's exhibited by Amelia Heller of Pilger, Nebraska. And, of course, your winner of your last class, class 12-16, Krebs Cattle Company. They had entry 3110, TR Miss Lucy 3700L ET.
Results in your Charlay class.
So we've got an April heifer on the right. We got a March heifer on the left.
SCBS
And then they'll be bringing in those second place females here.
Exhibited by Claire Schnelly of DeWitt, Nebraska.
Judge Jensen, I think, is
Second
kind of
place, entry 1697,
sorted through and probably talk
Miss
these ever so
Vanilla
briefly and then move on
exhibited by
into his
Christo
division
Cattle Company
champion.
of
Again,
Albion,
we're picking the
Nebraska.
junior champion female
Third
right
place,
now.
entry 1986, DC NBCC Lemon Drop 3179, exhibited by
We
Cooper
got
Elson of
entry
Miller,
2247 on the
Nebraska.
right,
And fourth place, entry
BCC5 Bullard
1644,
Katie, exhibited by Amelia
Missy
Heller
301L,
from Pilger,
exhibited by
Nebraska.
Karsten Schnelly of DeWitt, Nebraska.
Second heifer in the
In
ring,
now,
as
we've
you
got
work your
class
way
12-20
from
senior
right to
yearling
left,
females.
is
From your
exhibited
Highland
by
first class
Krebs
of
Cattle
bulls,
Company out
class
of Gordon,
10-16.
Nebraska. That's entry 3110, TR
First
Miss
place goes to
Lucy,
entry 2405.
3700L
RTH
ET.
Novak.
Judge is ready to give his
Exhibited by
comments and
Terry
make his selection.
Mathias of Ohio, Nebraska. In the ring now, that will also be your champion intermediate bull calf. And in the ring now, we've got class 10-18 junior bull calves.
In this division of Charlay cattle, we have two classes. Our first pair of heifers out of class 1 in this setting are probably a little looser structured, deeper volume kind of females. I don't know if they hit us quite the same in terms of balance or extras, so we have some interesting decisions to make as we work through this decision. Then the pair of heifers out of the next class, stout, massive, big-hipped heifers that have a neat look in terms of their balance and their profile. You could critique them structurally. I think they're all right and still middle of the road enough in the way they move. They're going to stay together because there's too much to give up. They're too good in other places. Congratulations to this young lady and the young man out of class 2.
All right, congratulations to your junior champion yearlings. The grand champion, exhibitor number 3110, that's TR Miss Lucy 3700 LET from Krebs Cattle Company out of Gordon, Nebraska. Congratulations to you all. He kept the pair together. The young man that was second in that class. Brantley Went, Lee, Nebraska, exhibitor 4158, R&K RCC, Miss Lori Darlin would be your reserve junior champion. So congratulations, pair of really nice females. They'll look good in lineup when we get the division champions back out here for the grand champion Charlay female. Right now we're going to be moving into class 12-18. We're looking for 4 head here in this class, and then as we round out the senior division, we've got 3 in class 12-20. So we've got 7 left to go. We've got a division, and then we got the grand champion. So if you wanted to watch the grand champion, we're kind of staying on track here. Looks like that'll be a little bit after 12:30 when we get upwards of 1:45, 12:45, something like that, when we're picking the grand champion. So coming in the ring right now, you've got entry 1644, SCBS Missy 301L, exhibited by Karsten Schnuel from DeWitt, Nebraska. Next up, you've got entry 1648, SCBS Miss Lucy 302L. That is Claire Schnuel from DeWitt, Nebraska. We've got entry 1986, DCNBCC Lemon Drop 3179, exhibited by Cooper Elson of Miller, Nebraska. And rounding out the field of 4 here is entry 1697, GAC Miss Vanilla Bean. That is exhibited by Christo Cattle out of Albion, Nebraska. Range and age here is January 4th to February 26th. Again, if you're just tuning in, we just selected the junior champion female, and that was exhibited by Krebs Cattle Company of Gordon, Nebraska. The reserve in that division was exhibited by Brantley Went of Lee, Nebraska. And now we're moving into our junior yearling females, and we'll move into the senior yearlings, and we'll have our senior champion, which will be our final division. And then from there, we will move into selection of the grand champion Charlay female. It's been an active day here at the Nebraska State Fair. We've had 3 really nice shows. The quality's been outstanding. We started off the morning with the Red Angus show, and we moved on to the Black Angus, and now, as some call them, the Mighty Whiteys, we are rounding it out with the Charlays. And quality just has been consistent and good all day long, top to bottom. Take these and certainly put them in anybody's herd, anybody's program, and they would do a person a lot of good. Looks like our judge is starting to make some selections. We'll let him make those selections, and then he'll give us a set of reasons on how he sees the cattle.
In this class of 4, this young man's heifer elevates rapidly just because of her overall balance and design from the side. I think a female that will definitely be an asset as we continue to work through this good Charlay show. A nice female young man. Congratulations on your class winner. The next 3 heifers offer some shake and shuffle. The young man's heifer that ends up in second. It's the biggest ribbed and deepest flanked heifer of the remaining trio. You could tidy her up in her, just in her navel and up into her brisket. I'd like to level her hip out and square up and coordinate her hind leg a little bit differently, but I read her as very functional in her body and structure, and that's why she lands in second. The next 2 cattle are big and raw-made kind of cattle that have a lot of shape, length, and performance to them. Young man's heifer was a little looser structured in the way I evaluated them. Really a long step, an athletic step off of her hind leg. Little big, little narrow, and just needs a little more depth to her flank. Next heifer, a lot can be said the same. She's a little more uncoordinated. travel of her hind leg. She pulls her hocks in and just doesn't travel as true and correct off of her hip and her hind leg.
Okay, results class 12-18. Junior yearling females.
Champion bull.
Class winner was Crystal Cattle out of Albion, Nebraska, GAC Miss Vanilla Bean. Second in that class was entry 1986 DCNBCC Lemon Drop 3179, exhibited by Cooper Elson, Miller, Nebraska.
Results in your Charlay show
Entry
from class
1644
12-18,
was
junior
third.
yearling female.
SCBS
First place
Missy
goes to entry
301L
1697.
from Karsten
That is
Schnull from
GAC
DeWitt,
Miss
Nebraska.
Vanilla Bean,
And rounding out the
exhibited by
field
Crystal
was
Cattle
entry
of Albion, Nebraska.
1648.
Second place goes to entry
SCBS Miss Lucy
1986
302L by Claire
DCN
Schnull,
BCC
DeWitt,
Lemon
Nebraska.
Drop 3179.
Moving into class
exhibited by
1220, this is the last
Cooper
class of
Elson
the
of
Charlay
Miller,
females
Nebraska.
today. Then
Third
we'll
place
move into
goes
a
to
cow-calf
entry
pair. But before we hit
1644,
that cow-calf pair, we got to pick our
SCBS
grand
Missy
champion.
301L, exhibited
So
by
we're
Karsten
going to do
Schnelly
our
of
second
DeWitt,
class here in
Nebraska.
the division, and then we'll have our
fourth place
division
goes to entry
champion
1648,
coming in here, going around the
SCBS
corner,
Miss Lucy
1646.
302L,
MLC
exhibited by
Miss
Claire
Helen,
Schnelly
230K.
DeWitt, Nebraska. In the
Caleb
ring now
Schnull
is
from
class
DeWitt,
1220
Nebraska is the
senior yearling
exhibitor.
females born
Then we
September
have
1st to
entry
December
2256,
of
Stag
2022.
Adriana 1K, exhibited by Circle B Livestock, Albion, Nebraska. And rounding out the fields, entry 214, White Rose Kiki 229K, Sutton Hill from Nunn, Colorado. Class of 3. Finish the show here on or finish out the last class, shall I say, on a very, very strong note. Three really nice females here. The judge is going to start his selections, and he'll be giving us his reasons real shortly.
Two different kinds of good heifers here that surface in this particular class. I think the heifer that wins the class is so bold and massive in her body and stout. I think she just looks like a powerful Charlay senior yearling. She's not as symmetrical and neat and maybe flat and refined as the heifer that comes in second, but so much good beef cow to her in terms of her muscle and her body and her structure. You could maybe say she could have a little more foot relative to the amount of mass she has off of her hind leg, and maybe gets a little raw in her tail head, but such a beast in terms of body and muscle. The heifer that comes in second is sleeker. She's more refined about her head, neck, and shoulder, and really smooth in her overall design. I think for a heifer that's approaching calving, I'd like to see just a little more cow there. She's a little peaked in terms of her muscle. Pretty flat when you step in behind her, but structurally, smoothness, I could see some deciding that that's more their flavor, and I understand that. The heifer that comes in third is really raw, big framed, long-bodied heifer that's tight back into her flank, just needs to be a little more balanced as we study her here from the side view profile.
All right, congratulations to the class winner there in 1220. That was entry 214, Sutton Hill from Nunn, Colorado. We're going to go into the division champion now. We're going to pick our senior champion female. We got class 12-18 winner from Crystal Cattle, Albion, Nebraska. That is entry 1697, GAC Miss Vanilla Bean. She's a February 26th female. Class winner of our last class, 1220. Entry 214, White Rose Kiki 229K, comes from Nunn, Colorado, being exhibited by Sutton Hill.
And our Charlay division, another good division of cattle. The heifer that wins the first class won it rather handily. Female that comes to us balanced, cowy and sound in her structure. We could talk about things here and there you could change, but big picture, she's a really nice heifer that checks a lot of the boxes that are necessary, and yet I think she comes with some extras as far as quality. Big, stout, powerful one, comes out of our senior yearling class. You like her bulk of her body and her mass and her stoutness. Structurally, you could probably just see her a little smoother shouldered, and we talked about her hind leg and tail head, but bold and powerful. As I get to our seconds, we have a real deep, loose-built heifer that comes out of the second slot of the first class. She gets a touch plainer to look at. We get to the last heifer of the lineup, very symmetrical. You like the angles to her skeleton. For me, needs more muscle, just a little too flat in her forearm, top, and out of her hip. We get to the final, and I guess we're going to go ahead and use this first heifer. She's going to be your champion. Young man's heifer will be reserved. Congratulations to these Charlay exhibitors.
All right. Congratulations to entry 1697, GAC Miss Vanilla Bean, exhibited by Christo Cattle of Albion, Nebraska, and reserve division in the senior division is exhibitor 214, White Rose Kiki 229K, brought to you by Hutton's Sutton Hill from Nunn, Colorado. We're going to get everybody out there. We're going to get them back in order. We're going to be bringing them in. We're going to be picking our grand champion Charlay female right now.
We do have group classes in our Highland show. We'll be bringing those in shortly and catching up on some Charlay placings. We've got results from class 1220. First place goes to entry 214, White Rose Kiki, 229K, exhibited by Sutton Hill of Nunn Cattle.
Okay, we should have 1, 2, 3, we got 4, we got 5. We got 5 out there for our division champions. Let's just run them down quick. That calf champion's brought to you by exhibitor 4017, Beamer Cattle Company, if you will, out of Hoskins, Nebraska. That reserve in that division was Hind Farms, entry 4587. We moved into the senior calves, and the senior calves, the grand champion in that division was exhibitor 3705, Gage Thompson from Pender, Nebraska. Reserve in that division was exhibitor 2245, Zach Schnuel. Zach's out of Beatrice, Nebraska. Then we moved up to our intermediate division, and that was exhibitor 2058. That's Benish Cattle Company from Valparaiso, Nebraska. And then we moved to our next division here. That is the junior champion female. The junior champion female is exhibited by Krebs Cattle Company out of Gordon, Nebraska. Reserve in that division was Brantley Lee. And then, of course, our last division, our senior division, which we just selected here, was exhibited by Christo Cattle of Albion, Nebraska. And reserve in that division was Sutton Hill from Nunn, Colorado. So the judge is going to walk around, give everything a good look. He's really kept to his type and kind today, and it's been a pleasure watching the sort job that's been done here. It's easy to follow.
Well, thank you to the Charlay exhibitors. It's a good show. A lot of nice cattle have came into the ring. It's been fun to work through them because I think it was a deep show in each division, and I'm not sure that there's been a breed that's brought this many good ones in each particular division. While we've had some really strong classes in the other shows in particular divisions, this one was good throughout the day. There's a heifer that stands out in my mind as an easy champion. And then I think the reserve female is very unique, and we could probably change her in a few areas, but I like her an awful lot, and I think she's got a lot of breeding value. So, again, as we conclude the third breed of the day here in the south end of the show ring, let's put our hands together and congratulate these Charlay exhibitors and thank them for bringing out a really nice set of Charlay cattle. The calf will be your champion.
Congratulations to Beamer Cattle Company, Hoskins, Nebraska, on the grand champion female here at the 2024 Nebraska State Fair.
Your grand
Again, just a
champion
recap
Charlay
there
female goes to
was
entry
come out of class number 1.
That's
That's
KTS
KTS Dolly 401.
401.
She's an
Exhibited by
April
Beamer
1st
Cattle
calf,
Company
again
of
exhibited
Hoskins,
by
Nebraska.
Beamer Cattle Company of Hoskins, Nebraska.
Just another single entry on produce today, and I think the cow's first calf and third calf, and we talked about them in the show. These are two of probably the more powerful ones we saw, ones that I think were still good in their structure and nice in their look. So obviously this cow's doing a very nice job for these breeders. Congratulations.
Results from your Charlay show. Your reserve grand champion female goes to entry 3110. That is TR Miss Lucy, 3700L ET, exhibited by Krebs Cattle Company of Gordon, Nebraska. Congratulations to those Charlay exhibitors. We will be taking
All
a
right,
short
well,
break
congratulations
for,
on the Grand and Reserve Grand Champion. Just to recap that,
we will not be taking a short break
we had to take a
pictures.
quick
We'll
break
be
there as they were
starting
moving
our
some things
bull
around,
show.
but Krebs Cattle Company ended up being Reserve Grand
We'll
Champion
need
here
our
in the
first
Open
class
Charlay
spring
show.
bull calves in the ring,
Congratulations
class
to
12-24
Krebs Cattle
spring bull
Company on
calves.
the Reserve Grand Champion Open Female, and congratulations
We gotta
to
do
Beamer
pairs
Cattle
first.
Company of Hoskins, Nebraska on the Grand Champion Female. Pair of very nice females.
We've got one pair.
Looks like we've
in our
got
Charlay show.
one pair that will be SCBS Miss Pearl 103J, and that is exhibited by Ben Schnuel of DeWitt, Nebraska. Just as a reminder, there is a Supreme Champion cow-calf pair that will be selected tomorrow night. So not only are they going to have the Supreme Champion female, they're going to have the Supreme Champion bull, they're also going to have the Supreme Champion cow-calf pair. So that's an exciting addition to the Supreme lineup. Once we get this sorted, we're going to go into two classes, and it's going to be bull calves that we'll be sorting in the Charlay show.
This will be our champion cow-calf pair. These exhibitors brought to us big, stout, powerful pair of cattle. As you study them, you like the amount of muscle they bring to the table. Obviously, she's putting a lot into this calf. He's growth-oriented and shapely. You know, structurally, we changed the cow's foot and maybe the calf's hip and hind leg structure, but things to breed off of here with the cow's length of body and muscle and depth and boldness to the middle part of her ribs. So I think that'll be a good pair of cattle to return home and continue making work for you as you continue your Charlay outfit.
Results in your Charlay cow-calf class. First place goes to entry 1651, SCBS Miss Pearl 103J, exhibited by Ben Schnelly of DeWitt, Nebraska. That'll be your grand champion cow-calf pair. Now we'll be starting our Charlay bull-calf show. Coming in the ring next will be class 1224, spring bull calves born March 1st, 24 and after.
All right, looks like we're going to be lining up that first class of bull calves here, class 1224. Bull calves born in the month of March. So we're going to have an age span here of March 4th through March 15th.
We would like to thank
Coming in the
all of
ring,
our
we got entry
American
2773
Highland
RKT
That will
Ryback
conclude our
ET.
Highland show for
That's
today.
Nathan Lashley from Curtis,
And
Nebraska.
coming up next in our North Arena, we'll be
Following
having our
Curtis
miniature
is
Hereford
entry
show.
3922 DLB Mayhem
After
104M,
pictures are done
exhibited
and
by
we get
Dylan
things
Borg out of
re-racked,
Concord,
we'll be starting our
Nebraska.
miniature Hereford show on the north side of the arena.
Following Dylan, we've got entry 3706, which
The
is
south side of the arena,
442,
class now in our
correct,
Charlay show,
422,
spring bull calves born
and that
March
is
1st,
Gage
2024
Thompson
and
out of
after.
Pender, Nebraska. 3 bull calves here in this class. And then we'll have another set of 5. Those will be February bull calves in the next class. And then you will be looking at the selection of the Grand Champion Charlay bull. 3 in this class here. Judge is getting a final look at him here, and he'll be getting them pulled in quick and be giving us a set of reasons.
Here's a trail of bull calves that are certainly interesting to place because they all got their positives they bring to the table. They're all useful kind of cattle. The differences that I see, I think, are obvious to find, but it does become a little more challenging to place and rank the cattle. The young man's bull that wins, to me, just embodies a really good ribbed and structured kind of bull that looks rugged. He has already got the appearance of masculinity up through his head, neck, and crest. He could be just a little more shapely, but I think that bull's good built and loose structured and big ribbed, and that's why he wins the class. Bull calf that's second can give you a nice look profile. He's attractive up front, very good in his lines, and good in the angles of his skeleton. I don't know if that bull quite looks like just masculine enough. He's a little pretty headed, a little pretty necked for me. Even though he's a bull calf, I'd like to see just a little more punch and look in that calf from a herd bull perspective, even this early in the game. Now, the opposite can be said about this calf in third. He's the one that's going to mash the scales down. He is masculine, and he is muscular and stout. But he's the roughest built one in terms of his shoulder and hip design and how he's built out of the back of his shoulders. So I think that's just a lot of challenge to place 3 good bull calves.
All right, Class 1 of 2 is down in the Open Charlay Bull Show. We'll be moving next to the Class 12-26, and that's going to be the February calves. Congratulations to our class winner there, though. That was entry 3706, Gage Thompson out of Pender, Nebraska. Second was entry 2773, RKT Ryback ET, which is Nathan Lashley out of Curtis, Nebraska. And then entry 3922 rounds out the field, DLB Mayhem 104M, exhibited by Dylan Borg, Concord, Nebraska.
Junior bull calves born January 1st to February 28th.
And here we go, leading us off, coming in first here is entry 3921, DLB Man Down 203M. That's Dylan Borg, Concord, Nebraska. Exhibitor 209, Hill Butker 401M. That is being exhibited by Easton Hill from Nunn, Colorado. Entry 3371, DCMR Rollin' Smoke 4188, exhibited by Dibdall Charlays of Newcastle, Nebraska. Entry 4161, WNT Hank 242M, is exhibited by Brantley Went out of Lee, Nebraska. Rounding out our field of 5 is exhibitor 1985, CE Liberation 410, and that's Cooper Elson on the halter. Cooper hails from Miller, Nebraska. 5 in the class, and this is our last class of the day here in the Open Charlay Bull Show. And then we'll move into the selection of the Grand and Reserve Grand Champion, Charlay Bull. Judge is going to start peeling them off and putting them in. Get her whittled down to 3. Got it narrowed down to 2. Okay. Looks like the young man from Colorado.
That bull calf that wins this class does so rather handily. He's sound in his structure. He's the stoutest bull in the group, and I think you put those two things together in a bull show, and it's going to be pretty tough to get around a bull like that. You can lengthen his hip out a little bit just to allow him to balance perfect from the side, but that bull's big-ribbed and sound structured and powerful and already starting to look like a bull. The calf that comes in second, boy, he is lean and green still. He's got a lot of growth potential left in him. His structural design is what lands him his spot in second. Really a good-footed bull that's athletic in motion. He's long-bodied. The longer that bull continues to develop as a yearling, the more you're going to like him. Today he's a little raw to kind of compete with that calf that wins. Looks like he's having fun getting halter broke as I look at the little bit of a bump there underneath of his neck. The calf that comes in third, he's neat looking and he's big ribbed, but he's high in his tail head. He's more peaked about his muscle, but a good calf as far as quality look up front and flexibility down through his lower joints. Framier kind of calf that comes next here. It's really loose in his skeleton. He's a bull that I'd like to just deepen up a little bit from forerib to flank, maybe allow him to be just a touch more nearly level right behind his shoulders and out over his hip. But I like the way he travels as you study him at the ground. We're going to conclude with a calf that's just not quite as developed from a masculinity standpoint, but he's sure functional enough in the way he's built structurally. He's got a square muscle shape down his top.
Results from class 1226 in your Charlay Junior Bull Calf class. First
Okay,
place
it's
goes
time to bring in our class
209,
winners and
Hill Butker,
select our grand
401M,
champion bull
exhibited by
here
Easton
in the
Hill of
2024
Nunn,
Nebraska State Fair
Second place
Charlay
goes
Open
entry
Show.
3371, DC Mr. Roll
I'm
and
going to bring
Smoke,
in,
4188,
out of that first
exhibited
class,
by
class
Ditdall Charlay of
1224,
Newcastle, Nebraska.
exhibitor
Third place,
3706, that's
entry
Gage Townsend from
4161,
Pender, Nebraska.
WNT Hank.
Winner of our last class
242M,
coming in is going to
exhibited by
be
Wentley Brandt.
exhibitor
Brantley
209.
Went of Lee,
That's
Nebraska.
Hill Butker 401M. That's
Fourth
being
place,
exhibited
entry
by Easton Hill out of Nunn,
DLB
Colorado.
Man Down, 203M, exhibited by Dylan
Got
Bohr, Concord, Nebraska.
just the two classes.
And fifth place,
This is
entry
not only the division champion, this is also the Grand and Reserve Grand
exhibited
Champion
by
of the
Cooper
show.
Elson of Miller, Nebraska. Coming up next, we'll be selecting our junior calf champion and reserve calf champion.
We've had quite a show
And
today
I was also
here.
informed this may be the champion overall Charlay bull, and I think deservingly so, because we got a nice bull show out here. This calf show was tough. A lot of good bull calves came to town. These two class winners, I think, are very good kind of bull prospects that are a little different. I love just the productive look, the body, the foot, the functional structural design that we find in this exhibitor's calf. We talked about in class, we could increase his muscle shape. Maybe you could level him out over his hip just ever so slightly, but he might balance in some ways just a notch better than the calf behind him. He's a little more extended necked. He's a little nicer in his head, but that's a good kind of productive bull that comes to us out of that first class. Second class winner is rugged and stout and big-footed and bold-made and muscular. And like I said, when you can make them stout and sound, that's two really good things to have in a show bull or just a bull in general. Athletic, powerful, and he looks like a bull. We talked about his hip and how we could maybe change that ever so slightly, but we certainly don't mind it because he's so functional at the ground. We got a pair of calves that are lean and green here that are second. Both are good calves, and they're going to continue to develop and be awfully good down the road. This one's really sharp looking. I'd like to equip him with more masculinity. This bull is a touch raw yet. I think he'll really continue to develop and be something you really like on down the road. Today he's so skinny. You can see his shoulder and his side and just the definition of muscle he has all the way across his side. But that bull's loose structured and muscular and good looking. I do like a lot of parts and pieces of him. I'm more favorable to these two calves that win the class. Young man here circling, you're going to be our champion. Congratulations to you. And this young man up front is going to be a reserve champion, Charlay bull.
There you have the conclusion of the Open Class Charlay Bull Show. Congratulations to exhibitor 209, Easton Hill. Easton was
Your grand champion
showing
Charlay
Hill
bull goes
Butker
entry
401M
209. That is Hill
and
Butker
Gage Thompson out of
401M,
Pender,
exhibited
Nebraska,
by Easton Hill
was
of
your reserve
Nunn,
grand champion
Colorado.
Charlay bull
Your
here at the
reserve grand
2024
champion
Nebraska
Charlay
State
bull goes to
Fair.
entry
Folks, that concludes our
3706.
shows here for a
ID number
while. Please
422,
do tune
exhibited
back
by
in. We
Thompson,
have
Gage
a 4
Thompson
o'clock
of
tea
Pender,
time,
Nebraska.
if you will. 4
Coming up
o'clock,
next, we've
we're going
got
to have
some
that open junior
Charlay
show.
group classes.
And then at 7 o'clock, we're going
Our
to
first
put them out
class
there,
in
and that's
our
going to be the
Charlay
open feeder
group
calf
will
show.
be the
So
produce of
a couple
dam.
of exciting shows coming up here a little bit later today at 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Hope you all have a good lunch, have a good afternoon. Be sure and come back and join us for the open junior show at 4 and that open feeder calf show at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Coming in the ring now will be our produce of dam Charlay class. Results from your produce of dam. First and second place goes to Dibdall Charlay of Newcastle, Nebraska. Coming in next, we will have our junior get of sire. First place in your junior get of sire goes to Ben Schnelly of DeWitt, Nebraska. Coming in next, we will have our breeders herd in our Charlay show. And we're First place in your breeder's herd goes to Dibdall Charlay of Newcastle, Nebraska. Next in will be our group of 5 class.
Are you sure you don't need any?
Not right now. I will later. No, I'm good right now. I'll get through this. As long as everybody's doing okay up here. Okay, you go ahead and announce.
And Brady gets lucky, gets this one right. First place goes to Dibdall Charlay of Newcastle, Nebraska. Thank you, guys. And that will conclude our Charlay show here today at the Nebraska State Fair. We appreciate all the exhibitors bringing their cattle to the show. Pretty soon, we'll be starting our miniature Hereford class as soon as pictures are done with the judge.